question today. Now that the man retire, people spitting fire, and every talking head having their say. For in this mixed up land that we call Trinbago, many times it does just boil down to race. They say that one side like African and the next prefer East Indian, but it's a way of choosing leaders is a disgrace. Hear why? Because a leader must help his country to rise.
A good leader
be able to relevant question today. Now that the man retire, people spitting fire, and every talking head having their say. For in this mixed up land that we call Trinbago, many times it does just boil down to race. They say that one side like African and the next prefer East Indian, but it's a way of choosing leaders is a disgrace. Hear why? Because a leader must help his country to rise.
A good leader
be able to relevant question today. Now that the man retire, people spitting fire, and every talking head having their say. For in this mixed up land that we call Trinbago, many times it does just boil down to race. They say that one side like African and the next prefer East Indian, but it's a way of choosing leaders is a disgrace. Hear why? Because a leader must help his country to rise.
A good leader
be able to relevant question today. Now that the man retire, people spitting fire.
Hi fam, it's your girl the Taki Lendo, and I'm shooting my video for I Love right here in Parman. Come up Parman, Larry Lime. I like pastels, I like penny, I like black cake and fruit cake too. I like turkey, I like sweet bread, give me the sorrel and ginger beer. But I love Jesus, Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. Yes, I love Jesus, Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. I like shopping, I like baking, I like painting. It's looking good. I see you cleaning, your power washing, I see your curtains. But just one thing, do you love Jesus? Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. 'Cause I love Jesus. Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. Yes, I love Jesus. Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. Yes, I love Jesus. Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. He didn't have to come for me. He didn't have to die for me. He didn't have to set me free. But I'm glad that he did. He did. He didn't have to come for me. He didn't have to come. He didn't have to die for me. He didn't have to die. He didn't have to set me free. But I'm glad that he did. Yes, I love Jesus. Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. Yes, I love Jesus. Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. You love Jesus. Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. 'Cause I love Jesus. Emmanuel, God is with us. He left heaven to save us, and we will overcome. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him. Do you love him? Do you love him? Do you love him? Do you love him? I love Jesus. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. I love Jesus.
Daddy, what song is Keep Your Family Close?
Fall in, fall in, fall in. Oh yeah, fall in. Lord, family. Christmas is a family. From the children to tante, cousin, uncle and auntie. Family, spend Christmas with family. Keep your family close.
Vibes will be sweeter than candy. Well, let me hear you sing. Oh, dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo, es la vibra. Dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo. A cada niño necesita una familia. A cada niña necesita una familia. No podemos olvidar a la familia. Respeta siempre a tu familia. How you used to play with them in the rain and get robbing down in the drain. And when you catch yourself on that strain, them on your back again and again. So much a man go surely climb. With them you spend so much of your time. Instead of getting exposed to crime, still woman have a family line. Family, Christmas is a family. From the children to tante, cousin, uncle and auntie. Family, spend Christmas with family. Keep your family close. Vibes will be sweeter than candy. Well, let me hear you sing. Oh, dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo. Family is the first ones that you call when times get rough and you take a fall. So when things nice and your money tall, then you should link with to have a ball. Or we should put the family first. About their wings you should always bounce. So when you take and your Christmas toast, just for the ones you love the most. Family, Christmas is a family. From the children to tante, cousin, uncle and auntie. Family, spend Christmas with family. Keep your family close. Vibes will be sweeter than candy. Well, everybody sing. Oh, dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo. Ah, hey. Dulce caramelo, dulce caramelo. A cada niño necesita una familia. A cada niña necesita una familia. No podemos olvidar a la familia. Respeta siempre a tu familia. Family, Christmas is a family. From the children to tante, cousin, uncle and auntie. Family, spend Christmas with family. Keep your family close. Vibes will be sweeter than candy.
righteous and faithful, ever true. We lift our hands and sing all praises to of matchless worth, of matchless worth. We come and we offer praises to you. We salute Father, Spirit, and Son. For it's the least that we can
Information provided by the speakers and/or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
I recall more than 3 decades ago, a senior telecommunications manager, let's call him Michael. And Michael was assigned to the task of presenting the government's position at a regional conference. Michael struggled and visibly trembled, especially since he presented after the retired North American ambassador, who had the audience in stitches, laughing up every word. I'm Dr. Madonna Dodd. And I made a silent vow then to help people like Michael, who are technically competent, but who struggle and succumb to fear when speaking in public. Now, as a communications architect, I partner with organizations and individual leaders to transform their leadership presence, including the way they express themselves. So, if your goal is to amplify your authentic voice, influence others, and lead with confidence, join me from October 28th to November 11th for our Communicate with Confidence online course. To all the Michaels, it's possible to overcome fear, step fully into your role, and lead with confidence.
During our 3 weeks course, I gained a lot of knowledge and insight on how to communicate with confidence using the different techniques and skills taught. Another thing that resonated for me is the fact that the same way singers prepare their voice, increase their lung capacity by eating healthy, doing the necessary breathing exercises, is the same way someone who is going to present should also prepare their voice. For persons who are interested in participating in this course, I say go for it, because you too will be able to find your coping skills, or how the runners and they just psych up themselves when they're on the start line before they start to be focused to finish that race. You would be able to find your coping mechanism.
this letter is just for you. My intention was to give you this letter when election was true. But since Dr. Rowley was stepping down, I figured I couldn't wait. I'm reading it now.
I'm reading it now.
Before it's too late.
Before it's too late.
I hear people say the PNM wasting the nation's time. I hear people say the UNC go scrape every last dime. And some couldn't choose between bad and worse, so I had to write this plea for the next leader of this country.
Cause we need to see
a nation full of success. We need a leader addicted to progress. Someone who's not here for the money and always giving us transparency. A leader with a clear destination and a direction. That's what we will see. Most respectfully,
to whom this may be.
some people say bad politics slowing this nation down, and some people say implementation is where we does go wrong. But I say that they both are true, and that's what we need to see to fix our style of democracy. Some people say this moving world keeps on evolving, and some people say our infrastructure needs some upgrading. That's why I hope this letter you read for these issues to resolve, so sweetie auntie could start to evolve. Cause we need to see ministries that competent, information you'll get in 10 seconds, public servants who will answer the phone and give you advice with a pleasant tone. A bank run should take you the whole day. It's time we stop playing that what we was see. Most respectfully,
to whom this may be.
when I was a little boy, but when I see they arrested Earl, I'm glad my gun was just a toy. It reminds me there are few ways up and 1,000 ways to fall. That's not just for one, but that goes for all. Many leaders in this land could be guilty or innocent, and it's hard for the people to truly know, so they will judge your intent. So before you walk in that big office, take a look at your character and have a long chat with Almighty Father. Cause we need to see power without ego. Take a ride on the bus, let people know. Don't be too much on your high horse, but be confident whenever time calls. Careful how much your leaders put one pot. Them things have to stop. Thy war we was see. Most respectfully,
to whom this may be.
sure by now you will notice this is written in the future tense. With hopes that you are a leader of great poise and great resilience. One who structures TNT with its local policies, not from global powers, but what the nation needs. I'm not going to lecture you on what's right and what is wrong, but I ask you based on the people's needs, keep your ears down on the ground. And don't be like Gillian Bishop and not care what the people think, cause you could still learn from the babes and sucklings. Cause we need to see TNT in the World Cup. Innovation from young people don't stop. A culture industry to hang the emblem high. So soca go stop trying to eat the pie. A leader who strike fear into criminals. That is critical. That's what we was see.
That's what we was see.
Most respectfully.
To whom this may be.
I think every time you drop your child, they just lose some IQ points. You know what I mean? Mom, in the white dress, what you do? You do HR? You get dropped 17 times. It wasn't your mom though. Trust me, nah, trust me. Every human being that start off as an astronaut who could paint the Mona Lisa. You get dropped, doctor. You get dropped again, engineer. Can you imagine how much times the Minister of Homeland Security get...
So let me just recap. You are telling me, or telling us, the nation, that the maintenance of vehicles will be done mostly in-house by the police. That's what you said, eh? Are you confirming that's what you said?
And state enterprises.
No, you said mostly in-house.
And state enterprises.
Well, that doesn't attach itself
mostly
to the
could be half of the motion.
Mostly could be half of it. All right. I think... I will.
Like what happened, like we get them the place to run and like they cannot run it or what? Like we get them the place to run and like they cannot run it? What going on? What happened? I said that talk, we get all the place to run, we run it, brother!
After me surround the marathon and come to run it. Get the chance about down the place and come to money.
Mass firings, compounded lies, a vindictive AG, a two-day prime minister that is ready to bust her ministers' heads. The UNC cannot run this place.
They must never break our spirit, but people, I want to settle down and talk to you all seriously. A time is coming very soon where we have to stop sitting down in these rooms and start to use our feet, you know. And I feel that that time is now. The time is now. Let me tell you why. When people don't care about you, and they're showing you they don't care about you, you must show them that I don't care about you too, but we care about we. And we must show this government that we are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and we have every right to live in this country as everybody else. If you look like a PNM, they fire you. If you smell like a PNM, they fire you. If you walk like a PNM, they fire you. If you talk like a PNM, they fire you. And this budget is no different. We have to stand, and at the time coming, or you see this meeting in these rooms, We had to leave these rooms, you know, people. We had to leave these rooms, you know. State of emergency or not, we will obey the law. We will walk in single file. We will write to ask for permission. But we must be out on the streets to let them know that we're not taking what they're trying to give we. Let me tell you how deceitful and deceptive this government is.
Local government election come in and they seem to have a problem with Port of Spain. But as the MP for Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, you have plenty more problems coming your way. Plenty. Look outside here and you will see Central Block, Port of Spain General Hospital. If you all don't open that in the next few months, we will be outside that hospital waiting for you. Because it is the people of Port of Spain, Diego Martin, Lavantil, all of us who are looking for employment in that hospital. And just because it's built by the P&M, go play, you're coming to lick it up.
I want to start by reading a quote for you that is trending online now. Someone sent it to me and I saw it so many times. I think it's good for us to read this quote. I'm sure when I start to read it, you will be familiar with it. It says, out of hatred for the cockroach, the ants voted for the insecticide. Out of hatred for the cockroach, the ants voted for the insecticide. They all died, big on in the tail, including the housefly that didn't even vote. They all died, including the housefly that didn't even vote. It says an African proverb, but it could be a Trinidadian and Tobagonian proverb. It is so true of our situation here today.
The mouse, looking through a hole in the wall, saw the farm owner and the farmer opening a package. He thought it was food and was delighted. But it was a mousetrap. The mouse rushed out desperately to talk to the hen. Mrs. Hen, Mrs. Hen. There's a mousetrap on the farm now. We have to do something. How are we going to live with a mousetrap here? The hen replied. Me worry about a mousetrap. That's your problem. You're a mouse, I'm a hen. A mousetrap on the farm doesn't bother me. The mouse lowered his head and went to find the pig. Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, we have to do something. I saw it. The farmer's wife bought a mousetrap. We need to take action, the pig replied. Me worry about the mousetrap? Who is the mouse on the farm? Is it me or is it you? I am the pig. Look at my size. The mouse lowered his head again and went to find the cow, who was eating grass. Desperate and crying, he said, Mrs. Cow, you are my last hope. The farmer and his wife bought a mousetrap. We have to do something, the cow replied. You interrupt my lunch to talk about a mousetrap. I am a cow. You are the mouse here. The mouse was sad and disappointed. No one wanted to help him. He went to sleep in distress. When night came, the mousetrap caught something. The farmer's wife went there in the dark when she thought the trap had caught a mouse. It had actually caught the tail of a venomous rattlesnake. When she put her hand in the trap, the rattlesnake bit her. The farmer, desperate, took his wife to the hospital, where she stayed for several days. After much treatment, he managed to bring her back home, but she was still feverish. And what is good for someone who is feverish and needs to regain strength? Chicken broth. The farmer remembered the hen. He killed the hen to make chicken soup. Friends and family began visiting the farmer's wife to see how she was doing. Some came out of curiosity, others out of concern. More and more people started arriving. And what do guests like to eat? The farmer looked at the pig and decided to sacrifice it too. But even with all the care, the woman did not make it and eventually passed away. With the wake, the whole town came to offer condolences. Even more people arrived, and the farmer, having no way to feed so many people, sacrificed the cow. What is the moral of the story? When someone in your home has a problem, never say that problem is not yours. Your husband's problem is your problem. Your wife's problem is your problem. The problem of your son, father, or mother is your problem, because a problem that affects one person inside the house, sooner or later, will affect everyone. Matthew 12:25 says, "A house divided cannot stand. The problem of one is the problem of all." If you watched until the end, share this video and comment where you are watching this content from.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me this evening on Constructive Talk. It is an interesting evening. Let's put it that way. An interesting evening. For those of you who didn't know that I was on earlier today, I was on earlier this morning because Miss Felicia Thomas would have made some very disrespectful remarks towards my MP, Mr. Brian Manning, and I said, no, man, out of place. So I jump on the live to bring awareness now to my listeners, because she would have referred to Constructive Talk in the sense that is our program. This program, Mr. Manning would have expressed his views on, right? And she would have attacked him. Yeah, she attacked it. She attacked my member of parliament. And right? So this evening I looked at the news again, and in the news headlines it continues to talk about this 10% and the PSA and the government and all the different things was happening with this 10% and stuff like that. So in the news this evening, I heard about the 10%. In the news this evening, I heard about the refinery. In the news this evening, I heard about Venezuela on alert. And in the news this evening, what again did I hear about? Well, the police commissioner is saying that there is no spike in kidnapping and stuff like that. But you are watching and you are observing as a nation, and you are coming to your own conclusions on what is happening. There is also this big discussion in the public domain about the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and his wife. His wife getting a home. Right? So it's interesting. It's interesting. You know, it's interesting. And there's this letter that is going around by the Honorable Ralph E. Gonzalez, right? And it talks about him writing a letter to confirm that he is Ralph Gonzalez, the father of, and you know, so there's this letter that is making its rounds around social media for those of you who haven't seen it as yet. So there is this letter that's making its rounds around social media. So there is that bacchanal that the minister in the Ministry of Housing is putting out there and creating an issue and a bacchanal about that people, you know, want to know about. And people are now questioning, and all because Mr. Ralph Gonzalez would have made some statements about the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. You know? So because he made some statements about the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, he is now being there's no questions now being asked. Right? There's no questions being asked about him. or about his wife or family member who would have gotten a home in Trinidad and Tobago. We're seeing where the US worship is here and questions are being asked about it. Also, we're seeing where persons are looking and wondering what's going on. You know? So this evening, I want to start off with some of the things that jumped out at me in the news. And just Trinidad and Tobago. Even before I go into some of the things that jumped out at me in the news. And I want to, so before I go into that, there's also some stuff that I just find, really, really annoying at times. You know what I mean? Real annoying. So, there's something I saw on the news. Guardian Media would have put it out there. And it's not a talking point. Ralph Gonzalez family getting a house in Trinidad is a talking point. Which people have their right to question and ask. Cool. But there are some other things that are happening in Trinidad and Tobago that I'm not hearing about at all. What am I talking about? Alright, so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So join me on the live, share the live, and let's look into some of the things that not being talked about enough. So I'm going to highlight some things to you that I think need to be talked about a little more. But you're not hearing persons talking about it enough. What am I talking about? There are some things I am not hearing. We hear from time to time. I watch from time to time. But you're not hearing it. Okay? You're not hearing it. You're not hearing much about it now. You're not hearing much about it. What am I talking about? So, there's a question that MP Young have been asking. And you are distracted by Anil Roberts. Some people say you could chew and clap at the same time. Some people say you could talk and clap at the same time. Just like how you're asking questions about Ralph Gonzalez family, wife, daughter, whoever. How come you're not asking about this?
In 5 months, this UNC government has withdrawn $1 billion US. $1 billion US from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. In 5 months of being in office, they've taken out $400 million US. From our reserve accounts at the central bank, they have taken out $600 million. I was asking two of the leading banks in Trinidad and Tobago last week, did they get an increase in the supply of US dollars in the last 5 months? The unequivocal answer was no. So where has that US $1 billion gone that has now dropped our foreign reserves and our import covers to almost 5 months? And when we go below that, we will end up at the IMF according to the formulas.
We're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming. Oh.
In 5 months, this UNC government has withdrawn $1 billion US dollars. $1 billion US dollars from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. In 5 months of being in office, they've taken out $400 million US dollars. From our reserve accounts at the central bank, they have taken out $600 million. I was asking two of the leading banks in Trinidad and Tobago last week, did they get an increase in the supply of US dollars in the last 5 months? The unequivocal answer was no. So where has that US $1 billion gone that has now dropped our foreign reserves and our import covers to almost 5 months? And when we go below that, we will end up at the IMF according to the formulas.
We coming, we coming, we coming, we coming, we coming. Oh. We coming, we coming, we coming, we coming, we coming.
So there's someone messaged me like, hey, your news source page got taken down. I wonder if it's the same thing I did to you that they're doing to her. So I was like, well, I don't know. I don't really follow her like that, but I'll go and check it out. But you know when you look at something, when you look for something, when you search for something, the algorithms keep showing you. So today, I opened my feed and I'm seeing that she's back. But the post I saw was this one, talking about an Indian recruitment agency in India recruiting for workers in Trinidad. So I'm like, this can't be real. It can't be this blatant. Let me go and look for myself. That's what I do. I go look for myself. And lo and behold, there is a company based in India, even though they have offices in other countries, that is a recruitment agency. And when you go to the job listings and you scroll down, tons and tons of job vacancies in Trinidad and Tobago. This one here, rigger, $445 US per month. Yes, they're getting paid in US. This other one here, concrete pump car, $718 US per month. Excavator operator, $718 US per month. And it continues, warehouse worker, $418 US per month. Yes, they're even recruiting warehouse workers. And here's my thing. When the previous administration hired this guy from Barbados and brought him here to head WASA, the talk on the ground from that side was that, so we have no locals who can run WASA. Why you have to bring in talent from outside the country? That we talk at the point in time. Eventually they got into office and they got their way. They replaced him with somebody else. So here's the question. With the unemployment rate in Trinidad and Tobago being what it is currently, you are telling me that we don't have to even import warehouse workers? We have to bring in them and then we have to pay them in US? When I can't even get US currency in my own country? Where just last month, CIBC sent me an email saying no more US for you. And when I go on the chat to ask what taking place just so my card can decline, I'm being told, unfortunately, this mandate would have been applied by the government of Trinidad. This is CIBC's help here, you know. This is not Photoshop. This is CIBC's help from the app, the official CIBC app. I can get in the US. Can't even renew an F1 TV subscription to watch Lewis Hamilton race. But you're telling me you're going to bring in workers on a working warehouse or something and pay them in the US? They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Somebody once asked me, a social media content creator asked, like, why did you reject the yellow wave? Why you didn't just take the money and, you know, come and make some money, bro? Why didn't? And I say, bro, we go way back, but here going on. I cannot actively support anybody who don't like me or my kind. I can't do it. You can't pay me to watch my people struggle. You can't pay me to watch my people suffer, which is exactly what we have been seeing happening for the past 7 months. And by the time many of you are able to figure out the maze of movements that have been taking place, you would have already been redundant. In fact, many of you have already been made redundant. You just don't know it yet. I'm just here watching on. And my official stance is, if this policy is always in place, stop it. Because clearly, you all do have US to be giving out like that. Especially when we down here crying for US. And if it's a new policy, then it's blatant and in our faces. All I will say on this matter going forward is, you got to keep all your eyes open and watch the plays that are playing out before your very eyes. Because they're not even hiding the plays anymore. The plays are open and blatant.
So you listen to that? If you're now joining me, I'm bringing into context some things that are happening, some things that are in our face, but we are ignorant to. There are things that are happening. There are some chess moves, some plays that are being made, and we as a nation are so caught up. We are really they have us in a maze, and they push the narrative on what we should be talking about and what we shouldn't be talking about. What should generate our interest and what shouldn't be generating our interest. So I played for you. The first video I played for you was MP Young asking a question that some of you who call talk shows, should be demanding answers for. You remember when Mr. Imbert was there and the Auditor General said that $2 billion missing? All over the platform, all over Trinidad and Tobago, all over the radio, people were saying that Imbert thief your money. Let's be real, let's talk. We're talking here. When that was happening, people were upset with the PNM and Dr. Rowley and Mr. Imbert for not bombarding the narrative of the discussion. Because Dr. Rowley and Mr. Imbert really believed that Trinidadians brighter than that. You can't fool us to believe that I thief $2 billion. No. That could never be. Let's not fool ourselves. Right? People was like, no, that's not true. Come on. Everybody know that that's not true. Everybody did not know that was not true, right? People honestly believe that Mr. Imbert thief. Are you hearing anything about that? Anybody out there, you all hearing anything about that again? Is there any discussion out there about that? But there is, and they know how to push the narrative. They know how to push the narrative. So again, for those of you who now joining the live, my conversation this evening is, are you duped? Are you aware of what's going on? Or are you really just duped? Those of you who call talk shows and listen to morning shows and, are you aware of, could you ask certain questions for me, please? One of the questions, I'm playing it over. This question, ask it for me now.
In 5 months, this UNC government has withdrawn $1 billion US. $1 billion US from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. In 5 months of being in office, they've taken out $400 million US. From our reserve accounts at the central bank, they have taken out $600 million. I was asking two of the leading banks in Trinidad and Tobago last week, did they get an increase in the supply of US dollars in the last 5 months? The unequivocal answer was no. So where has that US $1 billion gone that has now dropped our foreign reserves and our import covers to almost 5 months? And when we go below that, we will end up at the IMF according to the formulas.
We coming, we coming, we coming, we coming, we coming. Oh. We coming, we coming, we coming, we coming, we coming.
9th of the 11th month of this year, an article from Guardian Media was published. It said, Watts company secured $17.4 million in state contracts before switching to UNC. For those who don't know who Philip Watts is, he is the Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs. He's the Member of Parliament for Lokata Talparo. He's the #1 policymaker for all things youth, all things sports within our country at this point in time. He's known for, quote unquote, saying that many persons within his ministry now was hired there and they were not qualified. And an alderman by the name of Kobe Sandy responded, as you may know.
Most of them were not qualified for the position, Mr. Speaker. And should I call names? Should I? Ms. Kobe Sandy, an alderman from the Point 14 Borough Corporation.
Something ain't right, yo.
Watch out, man. Here come that fool. It's packing. Here he comes.
Yo, son, come on. Yo, Omar's coming, man. Oh, shit.
Popping bottles, putting supermodels in the cab. Proof. I guess I got my swagger back. Truth, new watch alert, few blows, or the big face rolly, I got 2 of those. Arm out the window through the city.
Now, is that corruption? Because recently we had MP Kareem Marcel being highlighted for getting CPEP contracts when the former regime was in power, and they called it corruption.
But on top of getting in, he had 2.7 million with his family in CPEP contract too. So he's a CPEP lawyer and a CPEP contractor.
If we juxtapose that and say, well, Kareem got through, and we say that's corruption, and then we see that what's got through, is that corruption or is it not? Yes, I know you're coming to say I'm being biased, but look at this. Government go, government come, PNM or UNC. What we do to our base is what? We go into office and we say, we see corruption, we've seen it here. This one gave that one this, that one gave that one this. And the cycle continues every 5 years, every 10 years as government changes. And you and I look at each other opposite the line of politics and say, you are not righteous. You are involved in corruption. You and your party is the worst thing for this country. While the same thing happens just under a different skin. Think about it. Or perhaps, is it okay? Is it no longer corruption if that 17.4 million or that CPEP contract trickles down to the common man and it benefits the ground or benefits you? It's no longer corruption, right? Tell me what you think. Let's talk about that.
Yesterday, someone messaged me like, hey, you hear news source page got taken down. I wonder if it's the same thing I did to you that they're doing to her. So I was like, well, I don't know. I don't really follow her like that, but I'll go and check it out. But you know, when you look at something, when you look for something, when you search for something, the algorithms keep showing you. So today, I opened my feed and I'm seeing that she's back. But the post I saw was this one, talking about an Indian recruitment agency in India recruiting for workers in Trinidad. So I'm like, this can't be real. It can't be this blatant. Let me go and look for myself. That's what I do. I go look for myself. And lo and behold, there is a company based in India, even though they have offices in other countries, that is a recruitment agency. And when you go to the job listings and you scroll down, tons and tons of job vacancies in Trinidad and Tobago. This one here, rigger, $445 US per month. Yes, they're getting paid in US. This other one here, concrete pump car, $718 US per month. Excavator operator, $718 US per month. And it continues, warehouse worker, $418 US per month. Yes, they're even recruiting warehouse workers. And here's my thing. When the previous administration hired this guy from Barbados and brought him here to head WASA, the talk on the ground from that side was that so we have no locals who could run WASA. Why you have to bring in talent from outside the country? That we talk at the point in time. Eventually they got into office and they got their way. They replaced him with somebody else. So here's the question. With the unemployment rate in Trinidad and Tobago being what it is currently, you are telling me that we don't have to even import warehouse workers. We have to bring in them and then we have to pay them in US when I can't even get US currency in my own country. Where just last month, CIBC sent me an email saying no more US for you. And when I go on the chat to ask what taking place just so my car can decline, I'm being told, unfortunately, this mandate would have been applied by the government of Trinidad. This is CIBC's help here, you know. This is not Photoshop. This is CIBC's help from the app, the official CIBC app. I can't get in the US. Can't even renew an F1 TV subscription to watch Lewis Hamilton race. But you're telling me you're going to bring in workers on a working warehouse or something and pay them in the US? They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Somebody once asked me, a social media content creator asked, like, why did you reject the yellow wave? Why you didn't just take the money and, come and make some money, bro? Why you didn't? And I say, bro, we go way back, but here we're going on. I cannot actively support anybody who don't like me or my kind. I can't do it. You can't pay me to watch my people struggle. You can't pay me to watch my people suffer, which is exactly what we have been seeing happening for the past 7 months. And by the time many of you are able to figure out the maze of movements that have been taking place, you would have already been redundant. In fact, many of you have already been made redundant. You just don't know it yet. I'm just here watching on. And my official stance is, if this policy is always in place, stop it. Because clearly, you all do have US to be giving out like that. Especially when we down here crying for US. And if it's a new policy, then it's blatant and in our faces. All I will say on this matter going forward is, you gotta keep all your eyes open and watch the plays that are playing out before your very eyes. Because they're not even hiding the plays anymore. The plays are open and blatant.
They're not even hiding the plays anymore. They're not hiding it. It's blatant in our face. Blatant in our face. But they still they're still manipulating the conversation. They're still manipulating the conversation because, as I said to you earlier on, so the discussion now is about Ralph Gonzalez, wife or daughter, whoever get a house. And as I said, it is in your right to question that. If the evidence is there, the evidence has presented itself, then it's in your right to question it. But we could question other things. It's in our right as a nation to make ourselves aware of things that are happening. Right? It's in our right. I see where one of our reporters would have asked the Californian governor a question. I want you to listen. Listen to this. Listen to how persons outside of our country is viewing our country. Take a listen to this.
Okay. Thank you so much, Governor Newsom. Thanks very much for the question. I'm Ryan Beechu from Trinidad and Tobago, small island state. I wanted to ask you about a geopolitical situation that's developing. Today, it's being reported that the United Kingdom has suspended some sharing of intelligence with the United States because of the strikes in Venezuela, on Venezuelan vessels. I just wanted to get your reaction to that. Plus, the Trinidad and Tobago government has supported those strikes, and if you had a message to the Trinidad and Tobago government, what would that be? Thank you very much, Governor Newsom.
What happened to due process? What happened to the rule of law? I'm a little old-fashioned. It's not ready, fire, aim. It's ready, aim, fire. I believe in rule of law. I don't believe in the rule of Don, D-O-N. That's what we're up against in the United States of America. I don't want to lose my republic. I hope you understand and are absorbing what's going on in the United States of America. Donald Trump does not believe what our founding fathers believed in co-equal branches of government. He does not believe in popular sovereignty. He does not believe in a system of checks and balances. We have a supine Congress that is checked out. We have a rule of law that I said increasingly appears to be the rule of Don. Our politics needs to change. And I hope our international partners understand that. It's chilling to me to see those scenes of the United States of America blowing up boats with no transparency, no advise and consent with the United States Congress, the representatives of my country, with briefings that are laughable that members of Congress, both the House and the Senate, including Republicans, have criticized. If you can't criticize that, what the hell can you criticize? Think about that. He's now talking about land opportunities. The United States of America, this is our country. Should be a model for the rest of the world. And so we're calling that out. Forgive me, I know I'm on a global stage and maybe in politic, forgive me. But this is a precious moment in our republic, and I feel it needs to be called out.
Thank you. We're close to time, so we'll take one last question.
Wow. That's all I would say. That's all I would say, though, is wow. Wow. Trinidad and Tobago. Wow. Interesting, eh? Real interesting, boy. This is interesting, you know. We are actually living in interesting times in this country. We actually living in interesting times. You heard what our governor had to say, boy? It's interesting what our governor had to say. Real interesting. But on the heels of that, there are some things happening outside on our waters. something's happening. I don't know if you are aware of it. I don't know how much of it you are aware of. But there are some things happening outside our waters. How many of you are aware of what is happening outside of our waters? Presently, just now in the news, on the newscast, 7 o'clock newscast, on CNC3, they would have talked about what's happening outside our waters. And it is quite interesting that CNC3 is trying to get on to the Prime Minister for a response, to answer questions, and they cannot. Things are happening outside our waters, and we trying to get onto our Prime Minister. Even if it's for her to say to us, well, as the developments happen, I will let you know. Nothing like that. But take a listen to this.
The Venezuelan government has announced the launch of a major military exercise coinciding with the arrival of the U.S. Navy's USS Gerald Ford carrier in the region.
This development marks an escalation in military posturing across the Caribbean amid heightened tensions. Now, one regional security expert is calling for urgent crisis management and contingency planning at the national and CARICOM levels.
Jesse Ramdale explains.
Venezuela's government on Tuesday ordered a full-scale military readiness exercise across its armed forces just as United States Navy's USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group entered the hemisphere. The simultaneous developments have injected fresh tension into the Caribbean landscape, spiking fears of a potential confrontation between the United States and Venezuela. In a statement from Venezuela's Ministry of Defense, the operation ordered by President Nicolas Maduro is aimed at enhancing command, control and communication across all military branches until Wednesday. The initiative includes a massive deployment of land, air, naval, riverine and missile units to confront what is termed as imperial threats. Venezuela's Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez said that armed forces are prepared to defend Venezuela's freedom. With the United States' most advanced and powerful carrier formation now in the jurisdiction, the military in a statement maintained that the deployment is aimed at detecting, monitoring and disrupting transnational criminal organizations allegedly involved in narcotics trafficking and other illegal activities. The parallel announcements from Caracas and Washington have heightened speculation that the two governments are responding directly to each other's actions. Last week, President Donald Trump said he was doubtful of going to war with Venezuela. However, he had previously indicated the possibility of ground operations and strikes. Regional security expert Garvin Hira told CNC3 News that the development has since added a layer of strategic tension to what he said was an already fragile regional security environment. He said in addition to a proactive crisis management and contingency plan, the situation called for measured diplomacy, strategic readiness and a unified regional response. Hira maintained that the country must remain vigilant, guided by principles of sovereignty, peace and preparedness, ensuring that national interests and citizen safety remain paramount amid shifting geopolitical dynamics. CNC3 News is awaiting a response from Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar on the development. Jesse Ramdale, CNC3 News.
Now, that's the part that irks me a little bit. They're still waiting on a response from our Prime Minister. Well, keep waiting. Don't wait in vain, you know. Don't wait in vain, but keep waiting. Please keep waiting for our response from the Honorable Prime Minister. Keep waiting. All right, it's 9 o'clock. So I want to show you some other things that jumped out at me in the news. So the U.S. I want to show you some of the things that jumped out at me in the news. What is that? What are some of the things that jumped out at me in the news? Right? I want to deal with this last. I want to deal with that last. We talk about this. So in the news tonight, they talk about Petrotrin. They talk about the refinery. I don't know why they keep lumping Petrotrin and the refinery in the same category, but cool. Take a listen to this. Right? Take a listen to this.
The future of the Pointe-a-Pierre refinery could soon be clearer, as Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal confirmed that a comprehensive assessment report on the plant's technical and financial state is expected within weeks. He told reporters at AmCham's Health, Safety, Security and Environment Conference on Tuesday the process involves a detailed evaluation of each refinery unit, along with certification and safety requirements to ensure the facility meets international standards before any restart. Once submitted, the report will be presented to Cabinet for consideration.
Look at the options available, given what the report may say. But we are very positive, and we are hoping that if all goes well in the new year, early in the new year, we could lay out the options quickly, given what would be required technically, what would be required financially.
Responding to Dr. Munilal's comments, OWTU President General Ansel Roche told Business Watch the union fully supports the minister's approach to the refinery and the wider energy sector. He says the union agrees with the committee's phased restart approach and remains confident that the refinery can and will be restarted soon.
What the committee has recommended is similar to what we have been saying for quite a while, that the refinery can be restarted, that it can be restarted on a phased basis, and as far as we are concerned, in a very short time, this country can return to saving valuable foreign exchange. Certainly, this country can return to its own economic and energy independence.
Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal, speaking at the conference, boasted that the government has been able to stop the declining oil production in the last 6 months.
After 10 years of decline in the energy sector, I am pleased to report that we have stopped this decline. We have registered a 5.5% increase in oil production from 52,357 barrels per day in April to 55,271 barrels per day by October last month, 2025.
The Energy Minister also added that gas production also rose from 2.41 to 2.63 billion cubic feet per day between April and June 2025. And now for a look at today's energy and foreign exchange prices.
An interesting discussion there. Interesting discussion. Very, very interesting. So, for those of you who wanted to know where Mr. Ansel Roger is, for those of you who wanted to know what is going on with the Petrotrin refinery, what's going on with the refinery, you heard it for yourself. You heard it for yourself. You heard it for yourself. What's happening with the refinery? So they're looking to restart the refinery. Cool? Cool. So now I want to deal with this. So I want you all to listen to this. Only listen to this. Call up all your PSA friends. Call up all the public servants. Call them up. Pal Lloyd, call your public servant friends. Mr. Good evening to Pal Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd Burnett. Miss Carleen Burnett. Happy birthday, Miss Carleen Burnett. Today is your birthday. You're celebrating today. And we on Constructive Talk want to wish you a happy birthday. Right? Make sure you get that happy birthday to you. Paloid, let me know when you have the Häagen-Dazs ice cream in hand. And you sit back and you're relaxing, Paloid. And we're going to listen now to why I had to come on earlier today. I came on earlier today on Constructive Talk to deal with the PSA president. Remember last night we was talking to Oral Saunders. And in talking to Oral, people were upset with Oral because Oral wasn't, he had hitting Oral that you all were expecting him to be. And, you know, when I sat down in introspection and just thought about what Oral was saying, Oral was really saying last night that he really hope and pray that PSA workers, not PSA, sorry, public servants get their back pay. Oral, in his thoughts and in his mindset, he was really hoping and praying that, you know, the small window of hope that he was looking through for PSA workers to get a little dust for the Christmas would really come through the back pay now. So after last night, you know, I sat down and I thought to myself and I say, you know what, Google? Maybe Oral have a point. Maybe have a point. You know? But today, this morning, Miss Felicia ran out her whole self and went after my member of parliament. I said, no, man. No, you can't do that. My member of parliament never disrespect you. So, I called my member of parliament this morning on Constructive Talk. And he would have said to me, hey, that's all in the game, you know. That's all in the game. When you sign up for this, it's all that is part of it. But I want you to listen to what happened in the news tonight. So I could recap. No, I think I want to play Felicia for you. Take a listen to Felicia first. This morning. Earlier this morning. Take a listen to the PSA president, Miss Felicia Thomas.
Hey, yeah, Miss Thomas, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am fine. You're sure you're good? Because I'm watching this news report here where the CPO, you say, apparently is stolen. You're sure you're good?
Well, yeah, Mr. Stefan, I gave a commitment to the membership, and I totally intend to ensure that comes a reality.
Okay.
As soon as the Minister of Finance made his announcement of 10%,
right,
I wrote the CPO immediately.
Okay.
And I gave dates in that week. It was the 13th. I gave that Thursday, and the following week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The CPO's office, and by the way, let me just say, acting CPO, Wendy Barton, is who I've been communicating with. The CPO is on some leave. The acting CPO responded to me indicating that they are doing calculations and they await the wrapping up of the budget discussions as well as the written instructions from the Minister of Finance. So that was the first excuse.
Okay.
They now have the written instructions from the Minister of Finance, so they can no longer use the minister as an excuse. He gave his commitment publicly, and then he gave it in writing.
Okay.
Last week, I wrote again to the CPO office, and I proposed today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, 4 days this week for us to meet to get this off on the table. Let us treat with the public officers back pay. They have been waiting, and they have been waiting long enough.
Right.
I have not, up to today, gotten a response from the CPO office, and that I can call nothing else but a delay. What is the reason for not coming to the table as yet? And I don't know what calculations the CPO office could be doing on their own, unless they come to the table,
because
they put forward their offer, and we commence the negotiations.
Right.
There's nothing for them to calculate. As a matter of fact, the minister's instructions would be very clear. What are they calculating?
Yeah, because...
So I see the Stefan as delay, and if they continue to delay, we will have to force them around the table.
Okay, but how do you force them around the table?
I will go to his office.
Okay.
The membership and we will go to his office. And I'm saying that now publicly to the membership. We will do what we have to do.
Okay.
But this cannot be delayed any further by the CPO. An instruction is an instruction. And this notion of inability to pay, and allow me to be a little free, because I keep seeing this fool, this idiot, Brian Manning. He keeps talking about the inability of it to be paid, and I saw him boasting about, even if I sign today, that the public officers have to manually calculate it, and that's so impossible. That is a disgrace to hear Brian Manning say, and it's a disgrace because he's speaking about the state that his party left the public service in.
Yeah.
But for some reason, although he's saying that, for some reason, when they made a promise to pay by Christmas, it could happen. And if it could happen when they make the promise, it could happen now for public officers.
Yeah. I mean, I
and the reality is, let me add to that, Stefan. If they were prepared to pay 4%, because they came boldly and they said, back pay for Christmas, when they were offering 4%, they were ready to pay. And if you were ready to pay 4%, all you have to do is recalculate to cater for 10%. It ain't no hard maths to do that.
Okay. But
so
I want to find out.
The notion of difficulty to pay that they are trying to create, the reality is it is not difficult.
Okay.
The government made a promise. They have kept their promise, and I will accept no delay from any CPO office trying to hold back these negotiations from progressing and from concluding on behalf of public officers.
Let me just ask you something, Felicia. The court, you all still have that 4% matter in the court?
Yes, it remains in the court, and until we sign 10%, we have an agreed and signed 10%. That is when we would have something to say that we can remove the matter from the court.
Oh, but this matter, but the matter being in the court does not stop or delay the negotiation process from starting.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
It doesn't.
Just to be clear here, now the minister said, and if I'm not mistaken, the instruction was to the CPO to start the negotiations at 10%.
Yes.
Now, I mean, I just showing it out here. Obviously, in a negotiation, and you being the president of the PSA, or how many other unions are going to join these negotiations, or whatever the case might be, obviously, you're not going to start at 10%.
Well, that's just the starting point.
That's the starting point.
When we get around the table, that's the starting point.
Okay, but you are satisfied.
Just the starting point.
Would you be satisfied and your membership satisfied if the CPO says 10%? And he doesn't budge from that 10%?
It's not up to the CPO. And this is not a take it or leave it situation. The CPO is actually going to be entering into real negotiations.
Okay.
And of course, Stefan, I will be guided by the membership.
Right.
I know they have waited for some time, and how far I push will be determined by the membership.
Okay. Do you expect any? Because I know within the PSA, of course, as within any organization, there are people who will support and be biased towards any political party either way, right?
Yes.
And we know that there are usually people who challenge.
So you all heard it. You heard her disrespect to Mr. Manning. You heard that this was this morning. She was on a morning show, and that is what she would have said on the morning show this morning that made me do a morning show. This morning, she did that on a morning show, which made me do a morning show. Cool? That's what made me do a morning show, because of what she did this morning. So this morning, I called my member of parliament. I told him, I said, did you hear how this young lady was disrespectful to you? And he talked to me, and we talked. But this, you know, you have a, I don't know who is the TikToker that's been listening. I don't know, like that TikToker on me like rice, like white on rice. It's this TikToker on me like white on rice. Because this TikToker would have captured what Mr. Manning had to say. Take a listen this morning on my program.
You telling me I don't why Miss Felicia decided to back herself into a corner and tell people a blatant untruth. I have no idea. But now she's going to have to answer for it. She made a promise to them to get them back paid by December 25th. She made a promise. Nobody else. So who should have to answer for it? She made that promise. No, the government didn't do it. The CPO didn't do it. She did it herself. And that's why I say there's a problem with politicized trade unions. Trade union leaders have no business standing on a political platform, trying to elevate themselves, sitting on state boards, you know, eating from the government trough, while also representing their membership. That is a clear conflict of interest, and it should never happen. So instead of holding the government to account, she's now trying to pacify and protect the government at the same time. It's not the Minister of Finance fault, right? It's the CPO fault. Who's the CPO employed by? Who does the CPO take instructions from? But she's desperately trying to protect the government while trying to throw the CPO under the bus for her mistake. And that's the problem. You cannot have politicized trade unions. That is a conflict of interest, a conflict of terms. It is an oxymoron. It should never happen. That's my job, to tell the people of this country the truth and to hold this government and these politicized trade unions to account. And I will definitely do just that. Why it is you promise to get back pay when you should know that it's not possible for them to get back pay before Christmas? You made that promise.
Yeah.
Don't call me into your back on her.
Wow.
Explain to us why it is that you will tell people something that is just not possible.
You can't spell dunce without UNC.
So what I'm going to show you now is what happened in the news this evening. Take a listen to this.
In other major news, Chief Personnel Officer Commander Dr. Daryl Dindial anticipates the 10% wage negotiations with the Public Services Association will begin in the last week of November.
He made the comment to CNC3 News late yesterday, just hours after PSA President Felicia Thomas accused him of stalling wage talks. Now, with a tentative time frame in mind, the CPO explained the process of these negotiations.
And a former public service head reveals what must happen for payments to be processed by Christmas.
We may not have an exact date, but it's becoming clearer when the much-anticipated negotiations would commence. Responding to questions from CNC3 News late last evening, Chief Personnel Officer Commander Dr. Daryl Dindial said he anticipates the 10% wage talks with the Public Services Association would commence by the end of November. Now, after PSA President Felicia Thomas on Monday expressed her annoyance with the CPO, saying she has heard nothing from him on a commencement date for wage talks, the CPO explained to CNC3 News that he's currently out of the country and will return next week. At that time, he expects the preparations for the wage talks would be finalized. But what is that process? Given that the PSA wants payments by Christmas, what steps stand between negotiations and money in the bank? Well, the CPO explained that the first step is a presentation to the union of a brief that is still being prepared by the Finance Ministry. The CPO explained that brief is the foundation of the talks and is an overview of this country's financial situation. Dindyal explained he would be conducting talks within a range that is provided to him by the Finance Ministry. When an agreement is signed, then it goes to the Cabinet for approval, and once ratified, instructions would be given to the permanent secretaries to begin the calculations. Now, that could be an extensive process. As the CPO said, the permanent secretaries would then have to go through all of the workers' files to work out the back pay. Then the Finance Ministry would have to find the funds for the payments to be made. Now, we asked former Public Service Head Reynold Cooper how feasible it is for payments to be made by Christmas.
The only way that is feasible is if, one, the existing staff work overtime, or they hire persons to do the work. Because remember, all the public servants who are there now have their normal work to do from 8 to 4. The back pay is an additional work that they will have to do.
The negotiating periods are 2014 to 2016 and 2017 to 2019.
Well, today we asked, do you think the PSA president will get her wish of settled wage negotiations and back pay by Christmas?
Here's what some of you had to say.
The People Say, brought to you by Excel Health TT, the official supplement of the CPL.
It's not logical, it's not rational. It's not rational given the time. We in November and Christmas is like 30-something days away. It don't look like they would be able to get that.
I think positively they're supposed to give them what's due to them because they promised to give them the money. And they don't, and the people that say they don't have pay, they hope they're not a fake and perform if they perform it.
No, I don't think that the PSA will be able to settle that before Christmas. It's highly unlikely.
I never take government word as a guarantee because it's always a problem. So I really don't know, but government words, I can't take.
Given the time frame, I don't think so, because that's less than a month away and too much is going on in the country.
No, that is not possible. That time is too short. You understand? Christmas is just around the corner. That time is too short.
No, remember, it's a process, it's a bargaining process, so it will take some time.
The People Say, brought to you by Excel Health TT, the official supplement of the CPL.
In other news, Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara in
So the PSA president is attacking Mr. Manning for saying that he can't see them getting their back pay for Christmas. Let's listen again what Mr. Manning had to say. You're really seeing again, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not doing this facetiously. I'm not doing this for games. I'm doing this for clarity. Mm-hmm. Right? We know that people just tape you and thing on this program and put you on TikTok. You have your big fans who just tape you from on this program and put you on TikTok. I just want you, right, one last time, Brian, because I believe that there are public servants who are listening and genuinely want to know the truth. Yeah. Could you just take us through the process of back pay, and if it is possible, how possible?
Pastor, even if it was approved tomorrow morning, right? You still have to go through the work cards and time cards of every single public servant that falls under this agreement. That's close to 100,000 plus people, right? And it has to be done manually. You have to bring in people who are on vacation from the public service. You have to hire contractors, and they would have to work around the clock between now and then. I went through this 2 years ago. It was a painful process, and we still couldn't complete it until about March or April, right? And that was 2 years ago. There is absolutely no chance of public servants receiving 10% before Christmas 2025. There's no chance of that, even if they agree tomorrow morning, which they have not and will not. And plus, besides that, there's no allocation in the budget for it. The government cannot legally make that payment without coming to Parliament to have it approved. It is not possible.
They're coming outside the Prime Minister's office every week and they're shouting at me in case I have it in my pocket to give them. Well, let me tell them tonight, many of you who enjoy that back pay, who's shouting for that back pay, you may get the back pay and lose your job. They're coming outside the Prime Minister's office every week and they're shouting at me in case I have it in my pocket to give them. Well, let me tell them tonight, many of you who enjoy that back pay, who's shouting for that back pay, you may get the back pay and lose your job.
Budget. And I want to stay on message based on debate in the Parliament. And, you know, judging from the standing finance committee's debate in the Parliament, it is obvious that what we've been saying all along is that the budget will be derailed by the first quarter of next year. In fact, I'm going better, the first month of the calendar year, new calendar year. And why would the budget be derailed? I mean, something that I would not like to see. It has happened before. Budgets have been recalibrated after a month, 2 months, okay, and put back out. We have seen many times where ministries have been asked to cut their budget by 10% and come back to the Ministry of Finance across the board 10%. But the budget is essentially based on some very dubious assumptions and some exceedingly creative accounting. And I'm just going to show you one, and I'm not going to go into the numbers because I want to pitch this again for the ordinary man in the street. And I'm not going to go into the oil prices. You're all aware of the oil prices and the gas prices significantly budgeted higher than projected for next year. But I just want to say this, and to put it in perspective. This country spends $4.5 billion a month on goods and services, transfers, etc., that you can't afford not to spend $4.5 billion. You do a quick mathematics, and that equates to $54 billion a year. You cannot afford not to spend that $54 billion. And I keep saying, and I'm staying on message, that's like transfers and subsidies, old age pensions, public assistance grant, etc., debt service, all the direct charges on the exchequer. You can't afford not to spend on that. So we are locked in at $54 billion a year. The budget has projected revenue, $55 billion. You understand what's the problem there? And with a $20 difference in the projected price of oil and the international projected price of oil, a $20 difference, US dollar difference. So you understand you don't have a lot of margin for error. So what is going to happen starting from this month, which is what we call, November is what we call a dry month at the Ministry of Finance. Starting from this month, the government is going to be cash strapped. The cash flow, they're going to have a cash flow problem starting from November. Okay? And you're going to see it. And there's a reason why public servants won't be paid on time, etc., cash flow issues, and it's going to just continue into the new fiscal year. So, one of the reasons why most people would suspect that the government inflated the oil price assumption, and although we're not really an oil province any longer, Stuart Young MP will tell you that we're more a gas province. But however, the price of oil still has a tremendous impact on total revenue. One of the basic assumptions is that the government wants access to the Heritage and Civilization Fund. And to do that, obviously, you inflate the projected price of oil as against what you expect to get from actual. And that triggers the withdrawal rules of the Heritage and Civilization Fund. Similarly, on the expenditure assumptions, as I said earlier, mandatory expenditure is 54 billion. But surprisingly, given all the discussions during the campaign, etc., and during the budget debate about having new revenue sources, etc. Remember what the question? Where are you going to get the money from? And they mentioned, the government mentioned, well, we're going to get new revenue sources. However, when you have a PSIP of only $4.1 billion, a little above 4% of your GDP, there's not much you can do, because your public sector investment program is where you generate your economic growth, you generate your investment activity. This is where you expect your economic growth to take place. But your 4.1 billion cannot generate the additional revenue in the non-energy sector that the government is projecting. And I want to say a bit on the deficit, which is one of the most deceptive deficits I've ever seen in all my career at the Ministry of Finance. Not many years, just about 30-something. At 3.8 billion, or 2.17% of GDP. But it is more obvious not for what it includes, but what it doesn't include. And here what it does not include, that deficit. It doesn't include back pay of 10% for public servants. Does not include. It does not include the addition to recurrent expenditure when you pay the additional 10%. You see, that 4.5 billion I said that must be paid every month, it goes up by 200 million automatically from the time you make that 10% salary increase. Let me make it clear. As a former public servant, in fact, I probably still am a public servant, I want to make it clear that I have no problems with the public servants getting the increase in salary. But things must be put in place. It's not at the expense of the rest of the country, at the expense of the economy. I'm all for public servants getting an increase. In fact, last time when they got the 14%, I negotiated the 14%. So it's not a matter of I am against public servants. I also used to be a member of the PSC. Right? So I cannot be accused of that. So firstly, as I said, it doesn't include the back pay, it doesn't include the current expenditure for the salary increase. And for some inexplicable reason, I want you all to go and check. I said it during my debate. On page 110 of the draft estimates of Head 19, you'll see a figure there, 7.675 billion. Last year, it was 12. That's debt servicing. And the previous year, it was 12. How could it fall so drastically by $5 billion in the face of an increasing debt stock? If your debt stock is increasing, your debt servicing must increase. And then, this is a figure that a lot of ministers of finance like to forget. And again, I'm giving the page on page 5, or the estimates of revenue. Okay? There's a figure there for VAT of $8.2 billion. That figure for VAT is not a net figure. It doesn't include arrears of $7.9 billion. Okay, so all of that is part of the deficit. And you know what it does not include also? That deficit does not include the employer's contribution to NIS. Not that additional that is going to come in into 2026, the 45% at the end of 2027, or at the beginning of 2027, I should say. And a bit on the financing. I want to direct you to page 67 of the estimates of revenue. I'm sure you'll be familiar with the estimates of revenue, what we call the yellow book, right? And the first thing is, why would we have a deficit? Why would the minister be projected a deficit of $3.8 billion and a financing of almost $19 billion? Go to page 67, you see there, black and white. Domestic financing, $8.1 billion. External financing, $10.8. Why are you projecting $19 billion in financing for a deficit of $3.8 billion? That's the question. Is that creative accounting? Or is the true deficit really $19 billion? But you see, while that may be hidden nicely in the estimates, you can't hide from Standard & Poor's. You cannot hide from Moody's. Those guys calculated that already. Okay, they understand the books. You can't hide it from the Article 4 consultation of the IMF. You can't. And this is where the budget will be derailed. And as I said, I've seen a budget derail in the first quarter of the fiscal year. I've seen it being derailed in the second quarter of the fiscal year. And everything had to be recalibrated. So how they plan on how does the government plan on financing this deficit? Well, they'll have to come back to Parliament because we are approaching the limit, or borrowing limit, and they lost all the headroom that they had between how much they could borrow and the limit of the legislated limit. So you can expect the government to come back to Parliament by about December for the latest, the act for additional spending limit. And what is going to happen? From the time that amendment is introduced to increase the borrowing limit, downgrade. All right? Immediate downgrade from Standard & Poor's and Moody's. And the next thing that, for some inexplicable reason, I keep mentioning it all the time, but I don't know if the minister is worried about it. I don't know if the governing central bank is worried about it. I am certainly worried about it. I've been worried about it for a long time because it's given me a lot of sleepless nights at the Ministry of Finance. Are you aware that we have an exchequer account that is in deficit of by $50 billion? In other words, the minister cannot do anything with fiscal policy until that $50 billion is paid down. He cannot do anything with a lot of the accounts in that cash balances at the central bank have been mortgaged to this thing called the overdraft facility at the central bank. And it has built up over the years. Since 2009. Every time you run a fiscal deficit, that number builds up. The only way you could pay it down or pay it back is that you have to run fiscal surpluses to pay back into the central bank. For some strange reason, I'm not getting any feedback on that. That's $50 billion that is stifling fiscal policy. Can't do a thing about it. I'm not seeing it in the press. I'm not hearing about it in Parliament. I'm not hearing about it from the minister. I'm not hearing about it from the Honorable Prime Minister. So I don't know if, and you know what? You're not going to wake up one day and that $50 billion is just going to disappear. So I just want to look quickly now at just some of the...
5 months, this UNC government has withdrawn $1 billion US. $1 billion US from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. In 5 months of being in office, they've taken out $400 million US. From our reserve accounts at the central bank, they have taken out $600 million. I was asking two of the leading banks in Trinidad and Tobago last week, did they get an increase in the supply of US dollars in the last 5 months? The unequivocal answer was no. So where has that US $1 billion gone that has now dropped our foreign reserves and our import cover to almost 5 months? And when we go below that, we will end up at the IMF according to the formulas.
We're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming! Oh. We're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming!
On the other hand, you had a government that had been in office since September 2015 to today. And every difficulty this country could have faced as a nation, we had to face in the last 9.5 years. And that government, while it would not have solved every problem, it would have engaged the priority list of things to do, things to get done to protect your lives, to protect your jobs, and to protect the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. And that government is the People's National Movement. PNF. You would have heard every promise to solve every problem. But the one thing that was short in this sea of promises is solutions to the problem. You will hear this lady who is opposed to me. She could count all who kill who. That doesn't tell me how you're going to prevent the next killer from killing the next victim. You will hear that they will reduce VAT on 7,000 food items. That sounds good. But already, almost 100 food items are VAT-free, basic items. They never told you which food item VAT will be taken off from. And when I forced her to tell me which one, she said, fresh beef. Fresh beef in the market. Madam Head of the UNC, fresh beef in the market never had VAT, like all fresh produce in the market, already VAT-free. They promised public servants to give them the biggest back pay that they could think of, as much as $18 billion worth of back pay, a 14% increase. The government has 90,000 workers on the government payroll. They promised to give them a 15% increase. That would be $18 billion. And every night, every day, they're in your ears with these promises. Now, of course, if they ever try to do that, as they have written, as they have said, the only way they could begin to think of doing that is to devalue the currency. So every US dollar, instead of being costing you 7 Trinidad and Tobago dollars, it will have to cost you negotiating new revenues from our existing gas contracts. You would have been facing something worse than any of the descriptions that they make to you today. And Stuart Young brought that, heading that team, brought us $38 billion more in revenues on contracts that we would not have earned that from. He told by her friends that she likes her weekends to be 5 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That is what you need at this time, where we are still in great difficulty in managing difficult issues, promising you the sun, the moon, and the stars, and lying about it because they already agree that if you put God out your thoughts and let them become the government on April 29th, the first thing they are going to do is to devalue the Trinidad and Tobago dollar. When we raised it, they're saying it is not true. Well, if it is not true, why did you say so in the parliament? Why did you write it down in your document? You must come now and defend your policy for your anticipated program. Don't just say it is not true. The document is yours, but of course you know that is their style. How many of you were here in 2010 when she said everybody at age 60 will get a old age pension at age 60? Everybody. When they came into office and people said, well, where's my pension you promised? She said, we didn't do that. We didn't say that. It's Ernie Ross and them who make a mistake in the manifesto. Look you straight in the face and tell you this thing that is written in the manifesto is Ernie Ross make a mistake. They are liars and they believe that you are stupid. That's why they could come and promise you all these things, knowing that the country can't afford it. I represent a government which stands in the breach. My 41 colleagues, we know that we have to stand in defense of Trinidad and Tobago. Because if we play politics with the country's economy, with the country's treasury, it is the children who will pay the price, because you adults have already got your share from sweet TNT. It is the young people who will pay the price of being deprived of opportunity. And of course, I want to say to public servants, 2,000 of you have voted for a young woman who was already going astray. She is now on the UNC platform. PSA has 20,000 members. 2,000 of them voted in the election. All she could find to do is to come out and encourage the UNC to try to get into government on the promise of a big payday, risking the jobs of thousands of public servants and the country ending up in the IMF. We, and for me in particular, I have survived in this political environment for many years. I've climbed many mountains. I've overcome many hurdles on one principle, and one principle alone as I go forward. I believe that the vast number of people in Trinidad and Tobago are decent, right-thinking citizens. And when the crunch comes, as it comes, so ladies and gentlemen, I have one vote. And early on Monday morning, I intend to go out to vote. I intend to vote solidly for the People's National Movement. Gentlemen, on the other hand, you had a government.
He had one vote. I had one vote too. What is your view? What is your view? You're seeing what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago? What's your view? 323-0576. 323-0576. Call in and tell me what is your view. Call now and tell me what is your view. 323-0576. I'm taking your calls now. 323-0576. What is your view? Tell me what's your view. 323-0576. Taking your calls. Yep, I'm taking your calls on Constructive Talk this evening. Let me say good evening to all of you who joining me on the live.
I warn you did not listen to me. You say yellow is the cold, so you went and you pushed me. But look what's happening now, I've been 6 months and you back. In every nook and corner, the poor man catching the ass. They feel like the rowdy, you too arrogant and black. So you look for greener pastures and when I put anger back. You do like Dr. Rowdy, you don't like how we just talk. You went and put Camilla, the woman could hardly walk. Camilla, making me suffer. Camilla, making me suffer. He get arrested, he end up in the hospital. These alleged corrupted big boys care one to make jail at all. On one hand we have Camilla dopishly looking for hope. On the next hand is the boy killer and his bangy looking for. Your AI song for election, it was a mortal sin. You lie and say when UNC win, everybody win. But after election you let go you princess down again. No CPEP and you are the workers catching this living. Camilla, making me suffer. Camilla, making me suffer. Them little bandits just engage the soldiers and police. But Kamala gone down Venezuela disrupted the peace. If Venezuela sneeze, we whole army go start to run. We can't fight Venezuela. Venezuela, we set a little caps. This little girl in Parliament just keep calling my name. But tell her in Kaiso I'm already in the Hall of Fame. God forbid if I do the things that she want me to do. I'm warning you, your receptacle going to split in two. Hey, breathe. Pressure. Jesus. Baila, baila, what? Jesus.
Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer.
I warn all you did not listen to me. You say yellow is the cold, so you went and moved for she. But look what's happening now, a good 6 months ain't even past. In every nook and corner, the poor man catching the ass. You didn't like it rowdy, he too arrogant and black. So you look for greener pastures and went and vote Kamala back. You don't like Dr. Rowley, you don't like how he does talk. You went and vote Kamala, the woman could hardly walk.
Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer.
David Lee get arrested, he end up in the hospital. These alleged corrupted big boys, they want to make jail at all. On one hand, we have Kamala doggishly looking for war. On the next hand is the boy girl rat is Bandy looking for. Your AI song for election, it was a mortal sin. You lie and say when UNC win, everybody win. But after election, you let go your print system hen. Now CPEP and URP workers catching the nenen.
Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer.
Them little bandits does engage the soldiers and police. But Kamala gone down Venezuela disrupted the peace. If Venezuela sneeze, we whole army go start to run. We can't fight Venezuela, we set a little caps. This little girl in Parliament just keep calling my name. But tell her in Kaiso I'm already in the Hall of Fame.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
Good evening, sir.
How are you this evening?
I'm watching Tricks.
Oh, Tricks and Trick. We were warned, but we didn't take heed. We give them 29 seats. Jack Warner leave. Prakash Ramadan gone. Devon Maraj tell we we're only waiting for the master of the court to come to tell you about human trafficking. Have Mamu jump on a plane and can't finish my water treatment plant. If you can see win, everybody win. So we take that mantra and we go on. 50,000 people going home. And they tell you don't worry. Pull your belt a little tighter and stop breathe. Just now when the budget read, CPEP workers will get their work. When the budget read, no work for CPEP workers, but are paying in US for warehouse. But I told you some time ago, as they win the election, about a week or two after, I said, Pastor Google, I see something going on, and I asked myself, if the lady staying in the Philippines and cutting the same deal she tried to cut with the man with the gas, because how much we missing? We missing $1 billion. They take out 600 and then take out another 4. And I asked you, Pastor Google, I have a man come to Trinidad to sell cement. When was that deal cut? Nobody can answer me. Was it cut under the PNN or was it cut under the under the present administration? And if that deal was cut, Pastor Google, that was cut in a matter of days in coming to in office. So that leads me to ask the question: did my $1 billion go toward imported cement? But the savior say, vote for that, you're making some people feel bad. But I thought Trinidadian had a little more common sense. But I had also tell one today on the station where I was, people are protesting now, and more people making noise now, and they couldn't make noise under the. I said, well, you got to be mad. Because we have 100,000 people that didn't vote because everybody said I is one vote, and I is one vote, and didn't realize one vote reached up to 100,000 of us. Well, now, we are asking for a repeat. That can't happen. And we're seeing the country, all the talk they talk about Haiti and how Trinidad will come like Haiti. You see what England do? You see what England do, right? So I'm waiting to see how are they going to carry out those bombings again without information from England? Or are we saying not to wait? Because I tell myself we sell out the country with the intention that regime change in Venezuela and we will get gas and oil and we ain't got to go to the IMF. But if that doesn't happen until next year, what will happen to we then? If we can't find a source of revenue to sustain, because we're only looking at the public servants, where they offer, and the CPO, Pastor Google, responded and said, yeah, what's going on? It ain't starting at 10, no, Pastor Google. The CPO said 5 for 2014, 2015, 2016, and 5 for 2017, 2018, 2019. That's how the 10 working up. I ain't say that, eh? The CPO said so. So I'm waiting to see. Enjoy your night, my brother.
All right. Thank you very much for your call. I continue to take your calls on 323-0576. 323-0576. 323-0576.
Hey, breathe. Jesus. Baila, by what? Jesus.
Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer.
I warn all you did not listen to me. You say yellow is the cold, so you went and voted for she. But look what's happening now, a good 6 months and even past. In every...
Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon, Pastor Google.
Hi, good evening, sir.
You know what people in this country fail to think that nobody have no fear for God no more here, boy.
Why you say that?
Boy, well, people just like they don't have no integrity. Like last I talked with everybody, they don't care. Once I eat a food, right? Once I eat a food, I don't care if this one thief, if that one thief, if this one do that, if that one that. Once I eat a food and me and my family are a little good, everything all right. People lying on people, destroying people character, doing all kinds of years now they're doing that, you know. And everybody just turn a liar. Like a spirit of Jezebel now. A spirit of Jezebel in here. Everybody just lying. But Pastor God going to put a stop to it. Just so people will start to stop saying God is a Trinity, you know. You see how much chances we get? All kind of things just pass. They don't come here. You know what them young people just tell me? I say, how people could think so? You know, they just tell me, young people, you know. They tell me people too happy. People too happy in this country. PNM spoil people. They make people too happy, too comfortable. Because watch me. Who want something in this country? Who have something don't want something. Because everything is there. You was getting paid to learn a trade. They're bringing the trade in your community. They're bringing NITCO. They're bringing everything in your African community. Right? If you want to be a businessman, you could go to NITCO. You want to be a tradesman and top trade, you know, air conditioning and all kinds of things that you could open your own business. Right? Plus, education from nursery to tertiary. You walk in the hospital, you're getting everything free. and you boiling pressure? Pressure? Pastor Google, it's about God, boy. It's about God. And everybody in Trinidad will see it about God because watch me. You see all the things they're doing, it must come to a stop. All that lying and that dishonesty and that don't care about nobody. Why if people is so called? Why if people is it? God is actually. We used to live godly life. We used to live godly life. We used to live, love and care for people. Not again. Not again. You can't say nothing. Because you say nothing, they come to cost you. They want to kill you. They want to do you all kinds of things. You can't say nothing. Don't say nothing, you know. Don't say nothing right. Right? People in Trinidad and Tobago right now rather believe a lie than the truth. Not everybody, but a big percentage of Trinidad and Tobago people rather listen a lie than the truth. You telling them the truth. And now me want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And that is where we going, Pastor. Go it's about God. I want everybody to Trinidad know it's about God.
All right.
It's about God.
Yes, sir.
I know it's about God.
Thank you very much. Caller is concerned. He's very concerned about what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Hello, good evening. Okay, caller, you need to call me back. 323 0576.
Baila, what?
323 0576. What is your view? Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Pastor Google.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Yeah, wonderful contribution from that last caller there. And, I think our moral compass has gone far left, and there seems to be a level of arrogance in this country from certain people. It can happen to we. We tell any country that it has no money. There's certain things that we cannot do. And people telling you, yes, it has money. Finding money.
There are people who genuinely believe that there is money, eh? There are people who believe that there is money. As the Minister of Labor said, it's just that you have to prioritize the money in different areas.
That's what I'm trying to explain to them. But you see what happened to each so-called that ECF fund that we have here in this country. I think some people are using that thing as a slush fund. And I find from a perspective that is bad money management practice. I'll give an example. Okay, so you discipline yourself, you're spending, but you have a little calculator, like a fixed deposit, right? You're trying to discipline yourself, but what this government is trying to do is, it's not disciplining the people. So let's say you short on funds now, so every month or so now you want to go and interfere with your fixed deposit. You understand where I come from, Pastor Google? Is that a proper form of money management? You understand where I come from, Pastor Google?
Yeah.
So every now and then, every month, when you tell us that you have $10,000 in your bank, by the end of the year, you will have less than $100 in your special deposit because of why? Bad practicing. This government is a very dangerous precedent. Mr. Stuart Young said that it took them at least 22 months for $1 billion to pass through. And this government take out $1 billion within 6 months. Something is wrong. The mass is not matching. And that Felicia Thomas, when I see that lady, I am reminded of Watson Solomon Duke. She is the female version of Watson Solomon Duke, Pastor Google. That is the female version of Watson Solomon Duke. We are in a mess. Even our diplomatic relationship We don't know nothing about geopolitics. It's a bunch of kindergartens running when it comes to geopolitics. How we end up in this mess of Venezuela? I wish that you could call somebody like Mr. Arima, because these people,
call who?
Venezuela and Colombia, these are the children of Simon Bolivar.
Yeah, but who you want me to call?
There's a lady who is called about the situation in Venezuela, and I haven't heard her from a long time. What's her name is? Miss Arima?
Oh, Miss Arima?
Yeah. What's going on with her?
Well, I don't know. I think she must be calling the other number and not getting through. But I told people just for today, I'm gonna get back the other phone. I'm trying to get another phone to use.
With people at Trinidad and Tobago taking this thing too lightly. These people are the children of Simon Bolivar. If people do not understand who Simon Bolivar is, do the little research. It has things on YouTube. Find out who's that revolution thing. These Latin American countries fight their independence through bloodshed, you know. Pastor Go, you have a good night, sir.
Same to you, sir. There are some people who are telling you to shut up, you know. There are some people who are saying, shut up. All right. Hello, good evening.
Hey, good night there, Pastor. Pastor, I have a question to ask in this whole thing here, right? I was listening to your recording with Miss Felicia earlier on today, right?
Yeah.
Her response to Mr. Manning, where she responded to Mr. Manning and saying that the then government would have paid, right, the 4% by Christmas, not so? That is what she was saying. And she was just saying, oh, you just have to go and recalculate the figures. What figures she was talking about for the 10%?
I think for the 4%.
She said it's a math. So, all right. So she was saying Manning and the then PN administration would have paid the 4% by Christmas. But she's just saying now it's a matter of recalculating. Recalculating on what? What you negotiate for? What you negotiate for? You ain't negotiate for nothing yet?
No, well, what she's saying is that it's for them to recalculate what they were offering, what they have them in court for. They have them in court for the they have them in court for the 4%. So she's saying that the 4% was already calculated for. Just add on the rest.
Oh, okay. That's a better clarity now. I understand what you say, right?
Yeah, that's what she said.
What you say. Furthermore, nobody get called yet for the job fair. Nobody get a call. Nobody get. And
no, but and the lady said, and one of the permanent secretaries would have said that interviews were going to be taking place the Monday.
Pastor, I in a little ring here. I didn't go. I didn't venture to go and apply because I was thinking this thing is like a Cambridge Analytica. They taking your data. That's my personal reason for not going, right? But I am telling you, in a little ring, and people are getting impatient. They get no calls, nothing, and they want to know what's going on. All this talk about people looking and they watching, hearing that the government may have to come back in December, for according to Mr. Dan Paul, because they're going over the limit of the borrowing ceiling to get money so to pay expenditure. That is as what he said, to pay salaries, to pay pension, must be things in the hospital, all them little simple things, the daily routines. People kind of get a little bummy now.
All right, so listen to this caller. I'm going to play for you. I want to play for you something. I want you to listen, Listen to this. Listen to this, Trinidad and Tobago. Because the young man is saying to me that nobody got called for interviews as yet. But then listen to this. I want you to listen, then, small man. Don't come off the phone. Stay right there. See me? I don't know that boy. I don't know that.
CPAP workers are among hundreds who braved heavy rains and traffic congestion today to sign up for government's recruitment drive. It is currently taking place at the National Cycling Velodrome in Couva. Some said they struggled to complete their applications on the employtt.gov.tt website and decided to submit physical copies instead. Also in the crowd were young graduates and many over 40 hoping for a chance at stable work. One mother, Mina Ragbir, says she has been trying to help her son find employment since the pandemic, while her father, Rajesh Ramkisoon, is looking for a stable job.
I'm very, very frustrated. I need him to get a job. He's my last child to get out of my hands to go into the working force. So I'm pleading with anyone, please accept him and let him get a job somewhere in some ministry.
I hope it's something that we can move forward with, hoping that we could actually jobs come out here. That's not like a fun. Yeah. Because you know, most times you just paint a picture and after the picture is painted, then there's nothing.
Staff at the velodrome said there are openings across several ministries for both contract and daily rated workers. At the office of the Attorney General's booth, Permanent Secretary Indira Rampal Chetty said the turnout has been good. She said the drive allows ministries to fill vacancies faster and reach a wider pool of qualified applicants. The AG's office is already shortlisting candidates with interviews expected to begin next week.
It shows that the government is serious about filling the vacancies and about creating opportunities for our young people and for unemployed and underemployed people out there. At the AG's office, we have some vacancies for attorneys at law, for business operations coordinators, we have hospitality attendants, we have office support assistants, so it's a range.
Almost every ministry and several state agencies participated in the event, including the Ministry of Health and the regional health authorities.
Among the positions available were change coordinators, research specialists, and content creators, along with carpenters and laborers. Officials say shortlisting will continue in the coming weeks, with some hires expected soon after.
Small man.
I hear you, I listen, but I am telling you, there are people in a ring, my personal ring and my little groups, getting kind of worried, bombing, nothing ain't happening, no calls, nothing. What you will tell them? What to say?
Small man, I just playing the clip. They say that interviews were supposed to start the following week.
Pastor, the only thing, let me tell you something, right? The only thing, Zeppo, I understanding, recently, certain sectors, industries lost people. People were removed from their job, right? Because of the change of politics. So when these people removed, obviously, when they remove, they are out of employment. And obviously, positions come vacant. There's a certain oil company right now is advertising. It was said by Mr. Young last week. If you watch it, and that's a classic example that's happening throughout the country, nearly all top staff positions was advertised. So obviously, is the government people might be going to fill them positions, right? And that is what is going to take play. That is the play. I have no doubt about that. Everybody in Trinidad are aware of the play. They know that is how the things go. So the people who was there before will be unemployed. So there is more people to the unemployment list right now. So the positions that they have, it was already positions that was possibly filled before, but they just removed the people and they're going to refill it again. That's all they're going to do. They're creating employment. So people kind of getting bummy out here. That is the contribution, Pastor.
All right.
Because I know other callers want to call in and make a contribution.
And I just wanted to, I just wanted to play it for you because of what you would have said to me just now.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
You know, I like to give I like to give you the information. I like to play the facts that in the news.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree. And there's means how to go and do the research.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for calling. The young man is concerned, and as somebody is saying, hear any frustration in the young man's voice. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
I just hear the young man speak here, so I said, let me give a call. Because something I rather sit down and listen. But, you see, what people, you see, a lot of people, when UNC win, everybody win. And the UNC people so smart. They take that chariot and they carry it to the people then. And they make them feel they're doing something. The same thing when they go down to show that big chariot, that thing that the man made, and they throw it in the corner, and they didn't like it, and they bring it back, and all them kind of, that's set, they call that one set. This one is charioting the whole place to make them feel they're doing something. The one down there, they make it, that's a set for everybody. Come on, every line, and $1 billion leave. Tanku government $1 billion. And nobody is talking about it and saying anything about it. When the morning come and listen to some radio station, like there may even no money lost in. Let me even go in the central bank on the site and watching what's going on. And one set of gimmick they're going with. When UNC win, everybody lost. UNC, that year become a curse. And let me tell Toronto Tobago something. All who listen, nothing going to happen. Because these people them already know they could mamagai everybody in Toronto Tobago. Just have to and go listen to them later.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much for your call. I don't know that, but
Hey, breathe. Pressure. Jesus. Baila, baila, what? Jesus.
Camilla, making me suffer.
hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google.
Good evening, sir.
Pastor Google,
Uh-huh.
for the last few months, has everybody been paid on time by the government? No, they haven't. And there's always an excuse why they have not been paid on time. The government has stopped everything. Everything the government has stopped. They have fired people. They have fired people. They have not replaced anybody. They have no money. They tried to extort 28 million the other day. Look at what happened. They will fool some of the people, but they will not fool all of the people. And there's evidence to show. Right? The president of the PSA doesn't have a clue what she is talking about. She doesn't even understand that she wants to blame the CPO. Why? Because she is bending to the will of the UNC. And the CPO takes instructions from the Minister of Finance. He doesn't go there on his own free will and conjure up figures of his own. As the CPO indicated earlier, that he has to wait from instructions, a draft presented to him, so that he can present that, and he has to know what parameters by which he has to work with in the collective bargaining. He ain't going there by himself and saying, all right, let me start a channel, let me see where we could go with that. He will get instructions from the finance minister, who Thomas don't want to blame, but want to blame the CPO. He put him in the country, but he have the delaying tactics. What delaying tactics? The man is not even in the country, but he delaying. And she knew he wasn't here. She knew because he indicated so when she spoke to Miss Barton. So she knew that he wasn't in the country. I'm talking about he's accusing him of delaying. You can't be delaying if you're not in the country. But she don't want to put a portion of the blame where it's supposed to go. No, she can't do that. How she can do that? After all what she personally get, she can't go and do that. And she called Brian Manning a foolish and an idiot. She can't even step in one half of Brian Manning's shoes. But being made to feel as though she knows it all, she knows absolutely nothing. She is one of the dumbest union leaders ever to exist. So when she goes to negotiate at the end of the month, and we don't even know how long it will take, and you know that I'm studying, Pastor? This negotiation might not even finish the way things going right now in the Caribbean Sea. So I don't know these people are just not thinking about what's going on. The carrier reach. Venezuela beginning to organize themselves. The carrier reach. It costing the United States millions of dollars to have that armada of vessels in the water every single day doing nothing. Go on YouTube and see exactly how much food and how much it costs for this Ford, Gerald R. Ford, to be in the water. How many people on board? How many Marines? How many soldiers? How many sailors? The equipment. And heaven forbid if war should start. You think the CPO had time to come in town to talk to Thomas? But to go and look to secure his family. All Thomas talking about is 10%, 10%. And she ain't studying, look, if she turn around and look at a ship in the water. How dotish could you be? Your mind is so warped into thinking about this 10%. It's about time. The people can't wait because you making promises you can't keep. And Brian Manning must have been there, has indicated, said, listen, this is going to take time. It's going to take time. But she's so dotish, she bought in. Well, let's have to add, they was giving me 4%, they only had to add 6 more and dice it. How stupid you could be. Not so easy. But you see, Felicia had to say something. She had to say something because she would look like a fool. And MP Manning is correct. She should resign forthwith when Christmas Day comes. Forthwith, because it cannot happen. She has been selling dreams to the public officers. Selling dreams. I want to blame everybody but her daughter's self. She is the idiot. That's what you do when you don't want to accept and take responsibility for your stupidity. But the people will soon realize that, hey, because I know what she wants to go there and do. She wants to wrap this up in 2 days and say, oh God, come now, man, oh, they get going now. But it cannot be done. Armada of vessels right outside our doorstep. And she studying that war could take place and everybody had to go home and look and take care of the families. And nothing will be able to come or go to Trinidad and Tobago. And you studying this 10%, 10%, 10%. Me have no money. Nothing will move. Nobody will take the opportunity or the chance to come to Trinidad and Tobago with war imminent. Donald Trump went to the Senate the other day to get approval because he wasn't getting it in the House, and they turned him down 51-49. Republicans came on the side of the Democrats to tell him no. But he ready to move, he ready to rock and roll. And all she's studying is 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, and this and Mr. Manning this and Mr. Manning that. You ain't studying right today's war. The country has no money. We're being fooled, and they're doing everything to offset and push our minds all over the place. I'm talking about these big pipe dreams that they have. As a man told me today, all of it will be dead before anything begins to take place. Before the show on Thursday. When Mr. Manning wanted to have the rapid rail, they said no. Dr. Munilal, get on and say $500 billion that you spend our money to do survey, and another $60 billion to do the rapid rail. All of a sudden, no rapid rail come back. All these pipe dreams to try to fool the people, to get them from not think about what's going on right outside our doorstep. And the Prime Minister has absolutely nothing to say. The kind fine she. What's he saying down somewhere sipping? Can't even come to the people of the country and explain to us. I am Kamala, be calm. What is that? That is how you run a country? And you're running and you're hiding. You can't take questions. You can't take more than one question anywhere. And you have a convicted felon telling us in the parliament that it's only one question for the Prime Minister, changing up all the laws that we have known for all these years. A convicted felon. And the whole front bench have questions to answer before the court. That is what we have running this kangaroo parliament that we have running right now. Headed by a convicted felon speaker. And them coming to talk and set a dotishness with people of Trinidad and Tobago. And they trying to calm the nerves of the people. How people running helter-skelter just a couple Fridays ago. It's a crying shame. But we will not let this people be push away the people from not understanding exactly what is going on in Trinidad and Tobago. We are not going to allow it. Because England has decided, as everybody knows, I'm just repeating it, that you see, we not in that. All you on your own. But Kamala Prasad Bisesa, what to say, she's supporting that, kill them all violently, but she go by the ICC court and answer. Let her go there and answer the court for aiding and abetting in murder. A crying shame, Pastor Google, a crying shame. That is who we have for our leader. In 6 months, they have literally sent this country backwards. Literally. And eventually, they will have to tell us where this billion US dollars, what they did with it, they'll have to tell us eventually.
How will they tell us eventually?
Because we'll have to demand it, because this SOB must finish.
How will we demand it?
We'll have to march.
Okay.
We'll have to walk.
Okay.
We'll have to do that. The SOB must finish, Pastor.
But my question is...
people must make their demands. Look at what's going on with the nurses right now.
My question is, and I hear you, but we're not even getting help from the mainstream media. Mainstream media not even asking that question. I hear a man call a radio program, a morning show this morning, and ask it, and the talk show host was dumbfounded. He didn't even want to continue the conversation.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it this morning.
So while I understand and I agree, and I am all for getting look, even the one I played from Rambles where he's asking why are we advertising jobs in India for people to come here to work for US.
Exact, and want to pay them in US, and we can get more than $200 if we're lucky to travel abroad.
But nobody don't want to answer that. You know what they want to talk about? They want to talk about how the Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez, how he family member get a house in Trinidad and Tobago.
Pastor Google, that is to deflate.
Thank you.
$440.6 million life support dollars.
Thank you.
Listen, that is to deflate that. That is all it is. That is all he does. And that is why I say our judicial process is too slow. That matter is supposed to be before the DPP, and the DPP is supposed to make a decision on that already long time ago.
But listen to this now. I played a clip earlier on today of a reporter from Trinidad, leave Trinidad, go on to Colorado. Is it? No, California, I believe, somewhere. And asking, let me take that. I don't know, I can't remember exactly where, because you know they like to tape you and say, look, he's saying. But asking the governor of certain area in America, let me see if I can pull it up, asking him about his thoughts on Trinidad and Tobago, right? And the man had to tell him straight up. The man say, hey, as a governor, I don't agree with that. California. They were in California, in South America. Right? And they were in California. The California governor said he don't agree with Donald Trump's approach.
Yes, I saw it. You're talking about Ryan Bechu?
Yes.
Yes, I saw it.
So you go on quiet to ask hard question.
And right here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
They're not asking the hard questions.
Our next one of my friends, she go on quiet New York to ask a woman about a shipping company. But right here you can't ask the Prime Minister and them about the money missing from the Heritage and Civilization Fund.
But not only that, Pastor, Jules Brown did not even ask the Minister of Energy today when they had the HSSC meeting that he went to in Hyatt Regency. Where are you getting the money to buy the oil to run the refinery? Where are you getting the money from? Are you bringing in somebody to run? Are you going to lease the refinery? Or are you going to run it yourself?
Spell. They're under a spell.
Nobody asking these hard questions. I was disappointed in Jules Brown. Disappointed. You had the man right there. You have to just simply ask the man, are you all bringing in someone to, are you going to lease the refinery? Or are you all going to start it back? And where are you going to get the money? If we have no money to pay workers, Pastor, we are getting money to buy oil in US dollars.
You're making me feel to play that statement by Dr. Rowley in the Parliament.
Who fooling who, Pastor Google?
Nobody ain't fooling nobody. It's a spell. Nobody ain't fooling nobody in this country. Nobody not fooling nobody in this country.
Pastor Google, you know the oil prices today? $65. $65, you have to run oil at 140,000 barrels a day in order to make a semblance of a profit in running the refinery. And the refinery has not been repaired since it shut down. So it was a Sabaka plane that was losing money, just so?
Somebody saying, and they will come to the opposition press conference to ask hard questions.
Exactly.
They'll want to come to the opposition. I hear this woman asking the opposition leader, so were you aware that they would have had a no confidence vote against the Prime Minister of this country? That's why you met with the ambassador of Venezuela. Miss Beckers had to tell her, hey, that arrangement was made long time, and it's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that makes the arrangement for me to meet with the ambassador. We don't make the arrangement.
Pastor Google, she said so twice. She said so on GW show in the morning, and she also said so in the press conference.
But the woman keep asking the question.
Right? You see, Pastor, apparently they are afraid of the UNC. Everybody is afraid of it. And they feel like, oh, if I ask a hard question, I might lose my work. I might lose my work if I ask a hard question. I can't believe Jules Brown would have the minister there and then ask him, but how are you going to, are we, the people, going to pay for the oil to run the refinery? Where are we getting the money from? Are you going to bring in someone to lease the refinery? What is the plan in order to get the refinery running? How are we going to, where are we getting the oil from? What about the repairs? Are we going to be flaring the excess gas?
Well, you listen to Jewel, I listen to CNC3, and I want to play it because somebody is asking.
I listen to CNC3, I listen to both of them.
Somebody asked a question. OWTU very quiet in their reply to the refinery.
On TV6, Roger said that is the best prime minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow.
That's what Roger said tonight.
Wow.
And still Roger said that tonight.
Wow.
So let me go on the other line. You can pull it up. That is the best prime minister in the history. In the history of Trinidad and Tobago.
Spell.
Say so.
Spell.
Roger drinking it too. Comrade Roger drinking it too, Pastor.
Spellbound.
He drinking it too.
Spellbound.
Already. Pastor.
Yeah. Spellbound.
Like enough for you and me.
Spellbound. That's what you call it.
Imagine Roger said that. Imagine, Pastor, and Roger sat since 2014 and or 2015 for over an hour.
Leave Ina. I want to play this clip. Yeah, man. I want to play this clip. Olio.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
The future of the Point-A-Pierre refinery could soon be clearer, as Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal confirmed that a comprehensive assessment report on the plant's technical and financial state is expected within weeks. He told reporters at AmCham's Health, Safety, Security and Environment Conference on Tuesday the process involves a detailed evaluation of each refinery unit, along with certification and safety requirements to ensure the facility meets international standards before any restart. Once submitted, the report will be presented to Cabinet for consideration.
Look at the options available, given what the report may say. But we are very positive, and we are hoping that if all goes well in the new year, early in the new year, we could lay out the options quickly, given what would be required technically, what will be required financially.
Responding to Dr. Munilal's comments, OWTU President General Ansel Roche told Business Watch the union fully supports the minister's approach to the refinery and the wider energy sector. He says the union agrees with the committee's phased restart approach and remains confident that the refinery can and will be restarted soon.
What the committee has recommended is similar to what we have been saying for quite a while, that the refinery can be restarted, that it can be restarted on a phased basis, and as far as we are concerned, in a very short time, this country can return to saving valuable foreign exchange. Certainly, this country can return to its own economic and energy independence.
Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal, speaking at the conference, boasted that the government has been able to stop the declining oil production in the last 6 months.
After 10 years of decline in the energy sector, I am pleased to report that we have stopped this decline. We have registered a 5.5% increase in oil production from 52,357 barrels per day in April to 55,271 barrels per day by October last month.
2025.
The Energy Minister also added that gas production also rose from 2.41 to 2.63 billion cubic feet per day between April and June 2025. And now for a look at today's energy and foreign exchange prices.
Jesus. Baila, baila, what? Jesus.
Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer.
I warn all you did not listen to me. You say yellow is the code, so you went and voted for she. But look what's happening now, a good 6 months ain't even past. In every nook and corner, the poor man catching the ass. You didn't like it rowdy, he too arrogant and black. So you look for greener pastures and went and vote camera back. You don't like Dr. Rowdy, you don't like how he just talk. You went and vote Camilla.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Yes, Pastor Google. Pastor Google, what was I hearing? A man saying that she's the best prime minister in Trinidad and Tobago? Well, I'm a little confused because if I did recall, just last year, the year before, when they had Basil Pandey's funeral, people were saying that Basil Pandey was one of the best prime ministers.
One of.
You know, Pastor Google, you see how important to get those clippings? A man saying she's the best prime minister, but when they had the Basil Pandey funeral, all Tom, Dick and Harry praising Basil Pandey as the best thing since his brother as one of the best prime ministers. All want Mr. Manning. I am very confused. And something that is bothering me, Pastor Google. Pastor Google, do you have any men and women of letters or any lawyer approach the ICC as yet concerning or doing a query if this Prime Minister could be brought before the International Criminal Court of Justice? Anybody in this country ever tried attempt that? You know why I say that, Pastor Google? When Mr. Dr. Rowley has gotten his doctorate, right, from one of the universities in the United States, you remember there was a petition sent saying that that Dr. Rowley shouldn't deserve that degree and it should be rescinded. Did you remember that? Did you recall that, Pastor Google?
Yes.
No, let's replace Ms. Carlos Prasad with Dr. Rowley, and Dr. Rowley is the Prime Minister, and he is siding with the United States and agreeing on the extrajudicial killings of the fishermen. Tell me what will happen in this country. Tell me what will the outcome will be. You tell me. Tell me the scenario. Who will be the prominent lawyers who will run for to the ICC for Dr. Rowley? Call some names now. Can you call some names? How can I say? Any prominent lawyers? If it was Dr. Rowley, you will hear all the prominent lawyers. They will definitely write letters to the ICC. You will hear so-called non-government organizations. I don't know. Probably be prominent in the newspaper. All social media would have condemned Dr. Rowley for his condoning of the fishermen who got killed by the United States of America. So where the voices of Pastor Google? You see where I'm coming from?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're right. And I agree with our blogger Rambles. I think this country has a spell. I think all them so-called multis that they bring in this country, it making people have pip in the voice. They ain't say nothing. Anyway, I still look around to find out if anybody will approach the ICC.
All right.
See if anything will be done. I just waiting. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
In 5 months, this UNC government has withdrawn $1 billion. $1 billion US dollars from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. In 5 months of being in office, they've taken out 400 million US dollars. From our reserve accounts at the central bank, they have taken out $600 million. I was asking two of the leading banks in Trinidad and Tobago last week, did they get an increase in the supply of US dollars in the last 5 months? The unequivocal answer was no. So where has that US $1 billion gone that has now dropped our foreign reserves and our import cover to almost 5 months? And when we go below that, we will end up at the IMF according to the formulas.
We coming, we coming, we coming, we coming, we coming.
Hello, good evening. Yes, you're live.
Oh, hi, good evening, Pastor Google.
Good evening.
I listened to your previous caller, not this one he was calling already, and he was expressing concern with respect to the warships out there and those things. I want to take this opportunity to just discuss national security 101. And I'm saying this because the heads here ought to understand this basic principle as it concerns national security 101. Now, every country have what they call the national interest. And that national interest is hinged on 3 basic principles: economic stability, health and safety, national security. And based on the national interest, they use what they call their instrument of national power to fulfill this national interest. And the instrument of national power is a little framework we call DIME, D-I-M-E. The D stands for diplomacy, the I stands for information and intelligence, the M stands for military operations, and the E for economic. So here, states taking economic sanctions on state. But the D stands force, and that D is hinged on the UN Charter, where we look at the principle of sovereignty. And according to Article 2.1 of the UN Charter, it states that all states must respect the territorial integrity of another state. UN Charter. Right? There's no legal supremacy over one state. So you could be how small and a state bigger than you, you have that, what you call sovereignty, and there's no supremacy over our next state based on its size. So the principle of sovereignty. There's also a principle called the principle of non-intervention. And let me explain what that is. State must observe the principle of non-intervention in the internal affairs of another state. So you should not be getting into the internal affairs of another state. Non-intervention, keep out. Unless you were called to ask for assistance, you should not get involved in the internal affairs of another state. That's the principle of non-intervention. Now, people sitting down on National Security Council ought to know this. I'm not hearing these analysts, I'm not hearing them talking about it. So we come down from the principle of non-intervention, we come down on the UN Charter, and we look at what we call settlement of dispute. And we're looking at Article 2 and Article 33 of the UN Charter. Article 2.3 says, all members shall settle their international dispute by peaceful means in such a manner that international peace and security and justice are not in danger. Article 2.4 went on to say, all members shall refrain in their international relations from the threat or use of force against another territorial integrity of a state. Refrain from the use of threat. This is the UN Charter, Article 2.4. And Article 33 went on to say, if you have a dispute, these are things that you should do to settle your dispute. Article 33, negotiation, inquiry, mediation, consolidation, arbitration, judicial settlement, resort to regional agencies or agreements, via CARICOM, or other peaceful means of their choice. So this is what the UN Charter states. So we must observe the principle of sovereignty, we must observe the principle of non-intervention, and we must find a peaceful means to settle dispute. So kill them violently. This is against the UN Charter. And next time I'll call in and I'll go into the other aspect with respect to the instrument of national power, the I, the M, and the E. So thanks for giving me the opportunity just to make this contribution, and have a good night and keep up the work. Good work.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, Pastor Google. Roger gave me sick tonight when I hear Roger say that the best prime minister that it ever had, you know. Roger and them are easy. Roger and them will eat babies, young babies. After saying all that kind of thing about that woman and turn around and say that was the best prime minister we could ever have, something wrong with Roger and them head. Them head screw on. They're good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
They breathe. Pressure. Jesus.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening again, Pastor. You know what I find was surprising to us over the weekend? This thing from the JTAM. The man who started this call was what was his name? Oh, I think it's a Jamaican guy. He was the person I saw or heard on another radio station advocating for peace in the Caribbean. But you know, on that day when they had the march, one of the main persons that they pushed out was the Emancipation Group Committee, Pastor Google. You observe that? They sort of stayed in the background. The media actually spoke to her. I didn't see him speaking at that function. You only hear what he said, but I didn't show you his face, per se. And I asked myself, I wonder why. Because there's a lot of people, even Mr. Baka, have the same views as that same fella. But they're going along with the administration. Still, sink or float. Something is wrong with Trinbagonians. Because of, at the yellow on, but the light off. So apparently some of them get jaundice now, so their mind can't function anymore. Because the yellow is so ingrained in them that the blood can't even move in their body anymore. Their mind stop thinking that we are willing to accept. If England could pull themselves out, Pastor, I hear Brian make a statement just now. Where they getting the oil from? They already sit down and had a conversation with Trump. Why do you think the lady supported Guaido from since then? And if she support Guaido and Trump's intention is to get oil, to keep oil price down so America could have, just like what she fool the population and take 1% off of gasoline and everybody jump up with it and we forget the entire budget. It is the same concept that Trump has. If he could get oil back to America,
And this oil is very closer than coming all the way from around the world. At a cheaper cost, the average household in America would be satisfied with some progress. So we intend to sell our soul. Because I asked myself, whether there's a regime change in Venezuela, and all the bordering countries decide that they're going to fight a war supporting the government that was thrown out. People from Colombia, Brazil, and the person to lose the most out of this is Cuba. And if Cuba was to decide to take part in that, what will happen to us now, eh? Then we have to put up a defense to defend ourselves. That's the good enjoying that.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
They breathe. Pressure. Cheese.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good afternoon. Good evening, Dr. Google. And I listen to your program. Some interesting topics and things. And the people are then very intelligent and seeing the light of what's going on in this country. And you know that oil deal with Petrotrin then, right? I personally see it as a cash cow for the UNC. Because I see them, they're going to take this thing and it's going to have negotiation and plan and all of that. And all the money going to be paid to the people who is this and is that, and in the end product, money going again. Just another chart, but same NGC thing, and better bottom dollar. What I'm saying here, for sure, people will see the end product at that Petrotrin deal. It was only a cash cow for them to siphon money. You know what I mean? But anyway, you have a blessed night and keep up the good books of informing the people of the ills of this country. And the next thing, all I want the people to understand, the union, them is headless chicken. The UNC sitting down on them head. They have nothing to contribute to this country. The people of the country have to stand up for themselves. Because if you really look at it, we have no leaders that have the stand.
All right, caller. You have a really terrible feedback.
Okay then.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Well, you have a.
Thank you very much. Oh, that's a terrible feedback there. I don't know where that was coming from.
They breathe. Pressure. Jesus. By what?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
It was nice to hear Comrade Roger saying that the current Prime Minister is the best Prime Minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Because it clearly is an example of whom the gods who seek to destroy, they send them mad. That is one. Who was going to restructure the Petrotrin debt that was still being serviced by the last administration and to continue servicing that debt that exists? Which investor is going to guarantee that? I know it wouldn't be the IMF or the World Bank. So it's interesting to me to see who would guarantee that to ensure the startup of the refinery. And it's interesting that the president of AmCham, Ms. Henderson, who was addressed to the gathering, spoke about to operationalize a proper authority. Because remember, this is a government that scuttled the revenue authority, a government that doesn't believe that we need more control. And for me, the key thing about restarting the Garcan refinery is whether it could be done safely to prevent loss of life. Because if they clamored and harangued the administration that went, and the former Minister of Energy, for MP for St. Anne's North, St. Anne's West Port of Spain North, and only 8 people died in the Paria tragedy, how would they deal with the situation if on startup the plant explodes or whatever they attempt to start up explodes and scores of people, including people living close by to the facility, are maimed or harmed or expired? Who's for that? But you see, it is important that to be what society listen to what was said with regarding that, and how the minister treated with it. And he is like, well, don't worry, man, we just dusting off and starting back up, man. Soon the revenue will start to flow. We will be on the road to prosperity, and all will be well. And people have to factor into what Brian said. He worked in the industry. He knows what happened. And if they want to believe that pie in the sky that everything will be okay, well, so be it. And I say again, whilst I want my country to succeed, like Trinidad and Tobago, I want it to succeed in a practical way, and in a way that would make sense. And nothing I heard uttered by the people in that conference makes sense to me. I mean, to me, Mr. Kesa sounded scared when Jewel asked him pointedly what he thought, what quarter, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, because they're hedging the bets, right? And I'm saying they talk about the investment in the deep water block, but didn't MP Young, as Prime Minister, tell us about that deep water block as the Energy Minister? Isn't what they're saying the same thing he told us, and they in opposition derided that and said it was a pipe dream? And interestingly, isn't that the same acreage in the sea that Tobago was clamoring for in terms of the Tobago Island Bill to talk about expanding its maritime borders, Tobago's maritime borders and so on? So when and if it becomes a successful production area and it comes to market, are we going to have the both islands, Tobago and Trinidad, as to how the resources will be distributed, or we sticking to the 5 billion that they got instead of the 6.08% that they would have gotten with the Tobago Island Bill if it had passed and become law? These are just some of the musings I had reviewing and listening to all the videos that they shares past us, and I hope that my fellow citizens and followers of this program would consider and discuss these things amongst themselves. Thanks for the opportunity, as usual.
Thank you very much for calling.
envious people in. Trust me, look. They find in life they get things too easy. Opportunities and making good money. So instead of working hard for their own bread, they rather use Obia and get your life instead. Cause they walk in. Watch them. Some of them envious people in. Trust me, look, all this stop it. Wait and go. I say they walk in.
I don't know if it's Obia they're working. I don't know where they're working, but wherever they're working, I am watching.
Jesus. Baila, by what? Jesus.
Let me say thank you very much. Oh, somebody took. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor, again. I want to tell your last caller that I too hope that when the refinery, if and when the refinery does restart, that the nearby citizens who live very, very close to the refinery in Marabella, and nothing happens untoward. You know, but it is 7 years that the refinery has been down. And the refinery doesn't take any type of oil, it takes a special type of oil. Right? It's not any oil you can take and just put it into the refinery and it'll work like that. Right? And on top of that, to remember, a lot of the employees, the seasoned, experienced employees would have gone past, were pretty old at the time. When I say old, in the 50s. Some of them would have been over 60s and 70s now. But I guess maybe they might bring back some of the more experienced people to assist and train the new ones, the younger ones, you know, for a couple of years perhaps, give them contracts and that kind of thing. I don't know what they're going to do. I have to wait and see exactly what this government does next year with respect to repairs. If they're going to do repairs, and they say they're going to do it on a phase basis, it can be done on a phase basis, okay. If they say so, well, we'll see what phase basis they're talking about, because I know that refinery is an integrated refinery. And so one part can't work without the other, coming straight down the road. Right? And that is, as I said a long time ago, that refinery is at the lower end of the 4th grade. Right? Therefore, the refineries are graded. Right? You have the first top grade, right? And there are sections in it, and then you have second, third, and fourth, and that is why we had brought in Shell Global to attempt to assist in upgrading the refinery. Right? I was part of that, one of those teams. Right? I was in operation support for 6 months of that, and we did what we could. But at the end of the day, the refinery is old. It's not a new refinery. And it has to be upgraded and modernized. Pastor, Google if Nutrien upgraded and modernized their plants for $130 million. Nutrien here not longer than the refinery. But look at the kind of money that they spent. It's going to cost a lot of money. If they intend to upgrade the refinery prior to restarting it. And the question is, if that is what they intend to do, how long will it take? I don't know. I don't know what their plan is, but it'll eventually all come out, you know, Pastor. Right? Eventually it will all come out. When Kaiser was saying, let the minister talk he didn't want to answer any questions. He was talking big just the other day about the refinery. But we can't look at the refinery just like that without looking at what is happening in our back door. Because just last week, Putin bombed the energy section of the Ukraine. He did it for a reason. You think what may or may not happen, heaven forbid, between United States and Venezuela may or may not affect us. I hope not, for our sake and for our children's sake. But at the end of the day, I keep repeating, we saw what happened when certain things were said here a couple Fridays ago. Pick up the train and go home. Traffic. All in Marbella. All over the place. We have to be mindful of all of these things. Because people just, the government talking, yapping, but they ain't talking about these things at all, you know. The Prime Minister is extremely silent for the last couple of weeks. I wonder why. Very, very silent. You can't pay government employees. You're catching your skin to pay people. You have shut down every single thing because you don't have the money. You're firing people left, right, and center. All who you could send home. And you want to pay people from India in US dollars. You're advertising in India. But you want to come and do work in warehouse, ordinary things that people in Trinidad and Tobago can do, and people in Trinidad and Tobago looking for a job. And as your friend his small man from Deep South said, his ringer people, nobody called them yet. And I hope whenever if any one of them do get a call, he would let us know. Because we are being sold all any and everything to hide from the fact that $440.6+ million in life support is now being read out to us exactly what it is, man. People have to be hiding abroad, can't even come home for fear of their life. And all of these other things that are going on in this country. People out of a job. People don't know if 1 minute you have a job, next minute you're just simply out of a job. Some of them living paycheck to paycheck, don't know how to feed their families. And things in the groceries have gone up. Not down, it's gone up. So where's this government carrying us? In 6 months, look at what they have done. I think my good year yet, Pastor. Not a good year yet. As one of your callers rightly says, every single time you open your eyes in the God, bless you to open your eyes in the morning is something new and not good for Trinidad and Tobago. Not good. And they want to deflate by telling us all sorts of stupidness about the Prime Minister St. Vincent. We don't want to know about all of that. You have questions to answer, but you want to deflate. Have a good night, Pastor.
Hey, breathe. Pressure. Jesus.
So we say thank you very much. Those of you who would have called in, who would have joined the live this evening. For those of you who will be watching the live, the rerun, please subscribe to the page. And remember, your contributions are always needed. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Please God, stay locked, stay tuned to Constructive Talk with me, Pastor Google. So when we start over this song, this is Crow's contribution for Christmas.
By what?
I warn all you did not listen to me. You say yellow is the code, so you went and voted for sheep. But look what's happening now, a good 6 months ain't even past. In every nook and corner, the poor man catching the ass. You didn't like it rowdy, he too arrogant and black. So you look for greener pastures and went and put camera back. You do like Dr. Rowdy, you do like how he does talk. You went and vote Camilla, the woman could hardly walk.
Camilla, making me suffer.
Camilla, making me suffer. David Lee get arrested, he end up in the These alleged corrupted big boys here want to make jail at all. On one hand we have Kamala doggishly looking for war. On the next hand is the boy girl rat is Bangi looking for. Your AI song for election, it was a mortal sin. You lie and say when UNC win, everybody win. But after election, you Lego your print system hen. Now CPEP and URP workers catching the nenen.
Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer.
Them little bandits just engage the soldiers and police. But Kamala gone down Venezuela, disrupted the peace. If Venezuela sneeze, we whole army go start to run. We can't fight Venezuela with we set a little caps gun. This little girl in parliament just keep calling my name. But tell her in I saw I'm already in the Hall of Fame. God forbid if I do the things that she want me to do. I'm warning you, your receptacle going to split in two.
Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer.
This Christmas time coming, things go be a little lean. You can't buy punching rum, so you can't make punch a cream. But all them have their big money inside the vault, while poor man have to drink super gasoline and suck salt.
Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer. Camila, making me suffer.
The information provided by the speakers and/or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
Recall more than 3 decades ago, a senior telecommunications manager, let's call him Michael. And Michael was assigned to the task of presenting the government's position at a regional conference. Michael struggled and visibly trembled, especially since he presented after the retired North American ambassador, who had the audience in stitches, laughing up every word. I'm Dr. Madonna Dodd, and I made a silent vow then to help people like Michael, who are technically competent, but who struggle and succumb to fear when speaking in public. Now, as a communications architect, I partner with organizations and individual leaders to transform their leadership presence, including the way they express themselves. So, if your goal is to amplify your authentic voice, influence others, and lead with confidence, join me from October 28th to November 11th for our Communicate with Confidence online course. To all the Michaels, it's possible to overcome fear, step fully into your role, and lead with confidence.
During our 3 weeks course, I gained a lot of knowledge and insights on how to communicate with confidence using the different techniques and skills taught. Another thing that resonated for me is the fact that the same way singers prepare their voice, increase their lung capacity by eating healthy, doing the necessary breathing exercises, is the same way someone who is going to present should also prepare their voice. For persons who are interested in participating in this course, I say go for it, because you too will be able to find your coping skills, or how the runners and they just psych up themselves when they're on the start line before they start to be focused to finish that race. You would be able to find your coping mechanism.
God is the joy and the strength of my life. He moves all pain, misery, and strife. He promised to keep me and never to leave me. He's never ever come short of his word. I've got to fast and pray, stay in the narrow way, and keep my life clean every day, because I won't be him when he comes back. I've come too far and I'll never turn.
Again, thanks to all of you. Thank you for being a part of Constructive Talk today. I really appreciate it. I hope that you all did enjoy the show today. I did enjoy doing it with you guys. So, please join me tomorrow. Yep, join me tomorrow, please God, as we get more into some of the stuff that's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Talk to you guys.
so bright.